Georgia. Georgia Tech 6-4 for the season. Head coach Chan Gailey. They've lost the last 3 in this battle. Desperate for a victory. And moments ago, the introduction of the scholarship seniors. First, the quarterback.
From Snellville, the winningest quarterback in NCAA history, number 14, David Green. From Snellville, Georgia's all-time sack leader and 2003 Ted Hendricks Award winner, number 47, David Pollock.
David Pollock said to us yesterday afternoon, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Todd Blackledge and Tracy Wilson. This is always a poignant afternoon, but this one even more so because this group of seniors, led by the 2 men we've showcased, has a chance to become the most accomplished football team since the days of Herschel and the Bulldogs in the early 80s. This is the 20th time in the last 4 years that we've had the privilege of televising a Georgia football game. So we've gotten to know these 2 young men very well, and it's been our privilege to watch them grow as athletes and as young adults. Todd, I know you share that pleasure.
I really do, and I think these 2 guys, along with Coach Mark Richt, have raised the bar here for Georgia football for many years to come. And when I think of each of these guys, one word kind of pops in my head to describe them. When I think of David Green, I think of poise. And when I played at Penn State, Joe Paterno's mantra with me was, "Hey, Blackledge, you gotta keep your poise." I've never seen a college quarterback as unflappable under pressure throughout his career as David Green. 40-10 as a starter, many of his biggest moments in big games. When I think of David Pollock, the word is passion. This guy plays with a relentless determination, and he plays every play like it's the very last play he'll ever participate in. And like all great players, he raises the level of play of all the guys that are on the field with them. These 2 guys have left their mark on Georgia football. When you look around this stadium today, you'll see a lot of kids wearing Georgia football jerseys. Most of them either have number 14 or number 47.
Do not be surprised when I asked you for that impression again. How about Georgia Tech? What do they have to do to win?
Well, they've got to be more consistent than they've been this year. They've got some talent. 3 things I think they've got to do in this game. I call them the 3 Ps. They've got to protect the football. In their 4 losses, they're -12 in turnover margin. They've got to plug the running holes. The 2 teams that have beaten Georgia this year both held Georgia to under 100 yards rushing, Auburn and Tennessee, and they've got to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. The strength of this team is their wide receiving corps, led by a phenomenal freshman, Calvin Johnson.
It is an overcast, chilly day, 46 degrees as we approach kickoff, a chance of rain. We saw the weather forecast at mid-morning, and there was a nasty-looking yellow and red stripe coming through Alabama that was heading this way, so we do have a chance of rain. 97th meeting, Georgia leads the series 55-36-5. Bulldogs have won the last 3, and last year was a 34-17 game. Just a footnote to that, Georgia Tech's game notes would list 2 more victories, and that goes back to 1943 and 1944. Georgia says they did not field a varsity football team during that time. It was a club team. Georgia Tech says, nah, 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 nah. Brandon Coteau will kick off. Georgia won the toss. They have deferred the option to the second half. Georgia Tech will get the ball. We're underway. Lamont Thomas, number 7, the wide receiver, down to the 20-yard line where he is spilled. And let's check in with the 3rd member of our team. Here's Tracy Wilson.
Thanks a lot, Vern. This Georgia team is coming off a disheartening loss to Auburn. So for these seniors, it's their final chance to make a statement and go out on top. Head coach Mark Richt told them just that this week. He said, it's easy to play hard when things are going your way, but it takes men of character to finish the race when some of the goals you set out for aren't there. He said, I just challenged their character to see what kind of men they are right now. When asked how this team will respond today, he said, we're about to find out, guys. That we are.
Yes, indeed, Trace. Thank you. Here's the handoff for Sean Grant. He is met in the backfield by Odell Thurman, number 33, the middle linebacker.
Well, Georgia is not a high percentage blitz team, but right out of the gate, they're going to bring Odell Thurman on a run blitz. And this caused a lot of problems for Georgia Tech last week when Virginia did it. They blitzed their inside linebackers a lot, and one of the reasons they were successful is they anticipated Reggie Ball's snap count. That's what Odell Thurman did that time as well. He hit that full speed behind the line of scrimmage.
Loss of 4. Odell Thurman Jr. this season. Looks over at the near side. Jimmy Dixon is the fullback. Here's Reggie Ball back to throw. Throws it left side. Has a man open.
Nice throw.
Sure was. And they're out to the 29-yard line. Well, the sophomore Reggie Ball from Stone Mountain, Georgia. 2-year starter. This has been a tough season for him. You can see why when you look at the number of interceptions.
Yeah, it's just he's an enormously talented young quarterback. And I think people are just a little frustrated, Chan Gailey included as head coach, that he just hasn't shown the natural progression as a decision maker. But his talent level is very, very high. But he must play consistent football in the game today.
Double tight end set. Rashawn Grant is the deep back. Play fake. Ball with a nice job of faking. Goes deep for Calvin Johnson. And there's an example. He had Johnson open early and lofted the ball and almost picked off.
Well, that was a play where Thomas Davis, who is oftentimes a very aggressive run supporter, was not fooled at all. Take a look. It's a great fake by Reggie Ball. This looks like a Georgia play, the flat back Ruski. But Thomas Davis, number 10, was not fooled. He stayed back in pass defense and was able to knock the ball away.
That's going to bring on Ben Arndt for the first punt of the game. Thomas Flowers awaits it. This is a poor punt. It'll bounce at the 43 and takes a sideways hop. And so Arndt, who averages 39 per punt, knocked that one only 31 yards. So inauspicious start for Georgia Tech.
I had to mention that flat back Ruski because they ran that play. Georgia did last year in Atlanta, set up Georgia's first touchdown. David Green hit a big completion off of it.
And here is David Green, 40-10 as a starting quarterback. That is the all-time record in the NCAA annals. Broke the mark. He shared with Peyton Manning, and Peyton called him to congratulate him when he set that mark 3 weeks ago. On first down, here's Green, comes into the near side for the fellow senior Fred Gibson. And Gibson breaks inside the 45-yard line. That's a gain of 15. And let's check the offensive lineup for Georgia. Presented by Miller. Offensive line, Inman, Jones, Tanner, Gene Gillis, and Dennis Rowland. Thomas Brown, the true freshman. Jeremy Thomas, a senior. Reggie Brown and Gibson, the wideouts, and the tight end, a real factor, Leonard Pope. First down and 10 after the gain of 15. And they fake the reverse, hand back to Thomas Brown, who comes over left tackle. And he's tackled just short of the 41-yard line. Defensively for Georgia Tech, and it's an aggressive defense. They will blitz nearly 70% of the time. Henderson, Rado, Nawai, and Travis Parker up front. Jarris Wilkinson, the best of the linebacking bunch. Michael Hall and Chris Reese. And in the secondary, James Butler is a standout. He's joined by Houston, DeMar Henry, and Kenny Scott. And Chan Gailey, third season as the head coach at Georgia Tech. Here's Green, little pressure. And it's dropped by his fullback, Jeremy Thomas. Be third down.
Well, you mentioned the blitz packages that Georgia Tech will bring in this game. I mean, they are very creative. John Tenuta, their defensive coordinator, does a great job of mixing things up. They bring people from a lot of different directions, and this is Jarris Wilkinson, number 49, who's going to put David Green on the ground. And they hope to do that a lot. It all starts with their ability to stop the run and then be able to pressure the quarterback. They've got to stop the run first and try to get teams into third down and long like they have Georgia right here.
Third down, and the meet is set. And here comes Butler. He'll blitz. He's picked up nicely. Green on a line. That's going to be close for the first down.
I think his forward progress is going to give him the first down.
All right, thank you, Tim. And of course, the biggest win this season for Tennessee occurred here when they came in and knocked off this Georgia team 19-14. David Green with a brand new mark, SEC most career passing yards. He has surpassed Peyton Manning. Eric Zier drops to third.
And he'll probably pass him in total offense here a little bit later in the ball game. Needed a little bit more for that because of some sack yardage that takes off of that total offense yardage. But well within reach.
Motion. David Green gets a snap and drops down.
Contact. David Green again, a guy who has started 50 games, and he knows all the tricks of the trade. Not just in reading coverages, but using his voice, using the snap count to his advantage. You see him chuckling a little bit there, jawing a little bit with Eric Henderson, and he got him to jump off sides by using his voice that time.
This is an ACC officiating crew.
Offside. Number 96 on the defense. 5 yards, still first down.
That's the smile for David Green.
As always amazes me, the guy is lined up right over the football. He's the closest defensive guy to the football, but David Green using a different inflection in his voice, and what happens is that defensive lineman stops watching the football and he's listening to the quarterback. That's not good.
First and 5, just inside the 50. Thomas Brown sweep to the left. Looks for help. Gets a little bit from Jeremy Thomas. There's a flag thrown as Thomas Brown is driven out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Well, it was excellent defense pursuit by Georgia Tech. And then they're going to get a holding penalty on Georgia on top of it that's going to knock him back. Again, plugging the running holes is critical for Georgia Tech.
10 yards, previous spot, still first down.
Now these two teams played a year ago. There were 8 personal fouls in that game, and little aggression displayed. James Butler, Kenny Scott on the sidelines. The holding call brings it back to the 40-yard line.
A lot of these kids played with each other, against each other in high school. They've known each other, played on all-star games together. I think there's a little bit of a sense that maybe Georgia is the more favored team in the state, and maybe a little chip on the shoulder to Georgia Tech players in some ways.
Green, right side, dropped. Whoa! Gibson dropped it. Well, a year ago, as we mentioned, there were a total of 8 personal fouls in this game. Georgia was penalized 11 times for 113 yards, and Georgia Tech 6 for 65. Several fights broke out. One involving Reggie Ball.
You know, that Reggie Ball got a personal foul for pushing a trainer. It didn't even happen with a Georgia player. It happened with a Georgia trainer on the sideline. And he talked about how he lost his poise in that game. Very emotional for the young freshman playing against Georgia last season.
After the Gibson drop at 2nd and 15, here comes the blitz again. They give it to Thomas Brown. He circles to the left inside the 30 to the 27. All right, thank you, Tim. 3rd and 4 here, scoreless game. 10:43 to go in the opening quarter. This is the first Georgia drive of the ball game.
And we got him again. And again, this is a pressure defense. As you mentioned, nearly 70% of the time they're going to bring somebody, a 5th guy. And they're very antsy right now up around the line of scrimmage. And David Green is taking advantage of that with the use of his snap count. And this is smart. 3rd and 4. If you can get the penalty and get a first down by getting him to jump off sides, you don't even have to make a tough throw. That's easy.
Coachman, 97 on the defense. 5 yards, first down.
Mansfield Rotto is the guilty one here.
Again, watch David Green. Now, he might shrug his shoulders a little bit. He bops his head. You know, technically you're not allowed to do that, but he's a guy who's been starting for 4 years. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt most of the time. But those defensive linemen, they've got to stop listening to his voice and watching that football right in front of them.
5-yard penalty. They needed only 4. 1st and 10. Now Green backs off. Changes the play. You've got Reggie Brown near side. Thomas Brown skips over his teammate, the fullback Des Williams, but does not quite get back to the line of scrimmage. Eric Henderson, number 56, Mansfield Rotto, number 97.
One of the reasons that I said that stopping the running game and plugging the running holes for Georgia Tech is so important is because the majority of Georgia's big plays, and when they really get into a rhythm with their passing game, it's off of play action. And that happens when they establish the running game. That's when they're at their best. And the two teams that beat them, Tennessee and Auburn, both shut down the run first and then got after the quarterback.
Second down and 10, officially no gain in the last play. 3 wideouts this time, and there's more motion. And we get 3 flags this time.
This time I think maybe there was some movement on the left side.
Snap, full start. Number 74 on the offense, 5 yards.
Max Gene Gillis.
Max Gene Gillis is right here, number 74. He's the tight guard, and what that means is Georgia, not a whole lot of teams that do this, but they flip-flop their lines. They go tight side and split side, so he doesn't always line up on the left or the right. Wherever the tight end goes, that's where Max Gene Gillis goes as well.
Backfield substitution now. Danny Ware, who did not play 2 weeks ago against Auburn, is in. Screen pass. David Green. Left side almost picked off. Oh boy, Reuben Houston had a bead on that as Green was chased all the way back to the 50.
Excellent defense again by Georgia Tech. Watch the pressure come inside. They're going to get to David Green. Too many guys for Georgia to block. And on the screen, Danny Ware was not open. I think the screen was supposed to go to Danny Ware. He never cleared for David Green, and Green luckily able to throw that one away. But that's 2 times now the Georgia Tech defense has put David Green on the ground.
That was number 35, K. Michael Hall. Ware tried to block him, had to let him go, and then Hall almost had the contact. Here's David Green. He's got Gibson. There's 6. Touchdown. Senior to senior.
And a mistake somewhere in the Georgia Tech secondary. Kenny Scott in the corner had no help from the inside.
David Green from Snellville, Fred Gibson from Ware County. Waycross down near the Georgia line. They hook up for the first touchdown of the ball game. Andy Bailey on for the extra point. Gibson shut out 2 weeks ago in that thundering loss to Auburn.
Fred Gibson, big play touchdown, easy when there's no coverage. Georgia on the board first.
All right, Tim, thank you. It's 7-0 here with 9:11 to go. In the opening quarter, the touchdown comes on a 3rd and 15, the 19th career touchdown for Fred Gibson. And the last 4 meetings, these seniors at Georgia have outscored the Yellow Jackets 37-0.
And it's not a big deal yet, but it is starting to rain here in Athens, and they're expecting it to get heavier as the day goes on.
Not a big deal for us because we're covered.
That's right. And
it's a big deal for Tracy Wolfson.
That's right. And she doesn't have a plastic hat on either. I mean, that hat, it's a nice hat she's got on there.
Yes, it is. Here's Brandon Coutu to kick it off. It'll be LeVon Thomas taking it at the 5-yard line. Still on his feet as he gets near the 40-yard line. And there's a little conversation.
Well, we'll go back to this touchdown. What I want you to watch are these 2 safeties right here. And what happened was when Fred Gibson ran the post, the corner Kenny Scott didn't get any help from this safety. This safety Butler helped on the other side on Reggie Brown, but watch DeJuan Landry just kind of get stuck inside, and the corner Kenny Scott has no help over the top. That's an easy read and a throw for David Green, and I got to believe that DeJuan Landry, the safety, was not in the right position because the other safety was helping on Reggie Brown. DeJuan Landry was stuck inside.
Second offensive set now for Georgia Tech. Here's Reggie Ball. The handoff goes to Rashawn Grant. He is cut down as he gets near the 41-yard line. And let's introduce you to this Georgia Tech offense. We've talked about the sophomore quarterback, Reggie Ball. Up front, it's Robinson Rhodes, Andy Tidwell Neal, Brad Honeycutt, and Kyle Wallace. Rashawn Grant, Jimmy Dixon in the backfield. P.J. Daniels might be available, the injured tailback. Calvin Johnson, just a terrific talent, joined by Nate Curry. And the tight end is Darius Williams, number 83. 2nd and 6. In the rain, between the hedges. Right side. Ball. That's caught by Johnson to the 20-yard line, or to the 50-yard line. Defensively, for the Georgia Bulldogs, and this unit, I think fair to say, has slacked off the last 3 games. Thompson, Golston, Anderson, and Pollock up front. The linebackers, Arnold Harrison, Odell Thurman, and Danny Verdun-Wheeler. And in the secondary, you've got Thomas Davis leading Demario Minter, Greg Blue, and Tim Jennings.
I think if you could mark any one thing for Brian Van Gorder's defense, when Thomas Davis got hurt in the 2nd quarter against Florida, I don't know that they ever recovered. For the next 3 games, they've kind of struggled for an identity defensively.
Sean Grant cuts inside Georgia territory for the first time. He's down at the 47-yard line.
Just to follow up on that, Thomas Davis got hurt early in the Florida game, and in that game they gave up 458 yards to the Gators. Well, then Davis missed the Kentucky game, and Kentucky had struggled offensively. They gained 344 yards against this Georgia defense. And then against Auburn, Davis was back, but not quite 100%, and Auburn kind of had their way with the Georgia defense. So I would expect Thomas Davis is about as good health-wise as he's been all season in this ball game today.
See, the last 3 games, over 22 points. Here's play fake. Ball has a man open. He overshoots him. That's Demarius Bilbo, former quarterback, number 8. And it'll be 3rd and 8.
One of the things when I've watched tape on Reggie Ball in the last couple days, he's had problems with his accuracy. He's got an excellent arm, a very strong arm, but he overthrows a lot of balls, and I think part of that is because sometimes he tends to try to throw it too hard, maybe overstrides a little too much, and the ball sails on him. And he's got to kind of gear it in there now and also know that he's throwing a wet football a little bit as well.
3rd and 8. Georgia 5. They got him. There's the sack.
Wow, David Pollock, the first guy to collapse things.
And then Quentin Moses took advantage of it.
Now this looked like a jailbreak because there was not much protection at all. Watch Pollock do right around the left tackle, Leon Robinson, to force the breakdown in the pocket. Here's Pollock coming around the edge, and then on the other side, Quentin Moses with the cleanup duty.
So the sack goes to Moses. The assist goes to Pollock. It's 4th and 13. 2nd punt for Ben Arndt. 2nd one that's ineffective. And this one does take a Georgia Tech roll, but it is out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it. At the 19-yard line. So the heavens have opened. It's begun to rain heavily. And it's cold. But we're going to be back. We're going to persevere. Well, here's when judgment becomes important. Oh, dear. 1st and 10, David Green, I formation. Play fake. Goes for his tight end, Leonard Pope. He's a big target, 6'7", 265. And he makes that grab for a gain of 11.
This Georgia offense really changed for the better when Leonard Pope got more involved in the offense. And really after the loss to Tennessee is when he kind of stepped up. And he didn't have his first catch in the year till the LSU game, the 4th game of the year. Didn't have his first touchdown to the 6th game, but now as you see, 6 of his last 17 catches have gone for touchdowns. He's been a real weapon in the middle of the field and a big target for David Green.
And a 1st down and 10 for Georgia with a 7-0 lead. They step into the fullback. And Jeremy Thomas, number 41. Well, let's go back to the studio. Thank you, Tim. 2nd and 9 here.
You know, there's a lot of talk about who's going to be ready to play quarterback for Tennessee in that championship game next week. But I got to tell you, Rick Clausen is showing something these last 2 weeks. I'm not sure I'd mess with that.
There's Gibson, and the pass overthrown in double coverage at the 45-yard line as DeJuan Landry, number 20, was covering, and Chris Reese was also back there with Kenny Scott. forecast was for heavy rains this afternoon, so everybody came prepared for that, including the Georgia Tech band.
They still have their sunglasses on, though, which is good to see.
Yes.
That's wishful thinking, I guess.
Third down. Out of the shotgun. Timeout called by Georgia just prior to the snap. So the time comes with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the opening quarter, and the Bulldogs leading 7-0.
Snap to David Green, and we jump up. Touchdown! Oh God, a touchdown in the corner.
It was Michael Johnson who made the catch and the inimitable Larry Munson who made the call. Larry, who was in his early 80s and justifiably a legend in the South. Had a chance to spend a couple of moments with him before the game today. Third down and 10.
And this is where Georgia Tech has been really good this year. Second in the ACC behind Florida State on third down defense.
Green near side. Nice timing route. Reggie Brown up a little high.
Yeah.
Reggie Brown can't make the catch. It'll be fourth down.
And that's a wet ball. I mean, that's a throw that David Green can easily make on a dry day, but that ball kind of took off on him a little bit uncharacteristically. I mean, he normally throws a pretty good spiral, and this ball took off on him and sailed too high for Reggie Brown to snag it. Plus, it's harder to catch a wet ball as well.
Gordon Ely Kelso on to punt for the first time on fourth down and 9. Patrick Clark for Georgia Tech waits it at the 30-yard line. They did have pressure, yes indeed. And this one is short, taken by Clark at the 34-yard line. Good coverage. Odell Thurman. Wow.
He looked like he was shot out of a cannon because they had the first guy blocked. At first it looked like a little wall was going to set up, and Odell Thurman just blew right through there. Your starting middle linebacker playing on your punt coverage team, and this is why. Big players make big plays, even on special teams.
And time now for the Home Depot coach's decision, Brian Van Gorder's decision to move David Pollock from defensive tackle to defensive end.
Yeah, he actually came here and they thought as a freshman maybe he'd be a fullback, and then they put him at defensive tackle, and towards the end of his freshman year he was playing some, and then they had a real shortage at defensive end, and they thought, well, let's put David Pollock out there, and David Pollock took it upon himself to make himself an outstanding defensive end. He wasn't really thrilled with the decision at first, but he made it work.
There's the handoff. They come away from David Pollock. Rashawn Grant into the secondary where he runs into Thomas Davis. That's, boy, frying pan into the fire. You run away from Pollock and you find Davis. He did have a nice gain of 9.
Rashawn Grant has shown some good signs for Georgia Tech. When the season started, he was the number 3 tailback behind P.J. Daniels and Chris Woods. And both of those guys have gone down in injuries. He had to kind of step in and be the guy in the North Carolina State game. And he's responded very well as a redshirt freshman.
He is the lone setback now on 2nd and 1. It goes left. First down, Georgia Tech,
nice
all
run.
the way to the 45. And he got a nice clearing block from Matt Rhodes, number 61.
Well, this is Georgia Tech's favorite running play. It's the zone play. It's just kind of a stretch play. They went 2 tight ends this time. And Matt Rhodes, number 61, with the good block to spring Rashawn Grant. And their MO offensively is to run the zone and then throw outside one-on-one to those good receivers.
And I just looked down at the Georgia sideline, Todd, and David Green is getting some attention from the training staff away from the field of play. Check on that in a moment. On first down, there's the Grant handoff. Green standing all by himself now. There's Greeny.
Well, I thought I remembered seeing him after the touchdown throw, getting up and kind of looking at his lip. He got hit a couple times in the game early. And that's Rashawn Grant, who is down. And Chan Gailey told me before the game they were hoping that P.J. Daniels would feel okay in warm-ups. And if he was good, that they would still start Grant, but hopefully play Daniels as well.
Daniels, the outstanding running back, has missed all are parts of 4 games this year. Here's Rashawn Grant. And let's check in with Tracy Wolfson. Trace.
Thanks, Vern. I don't have much, but as I'm standing here on the sideline, I watched the trainers work on Green's left thumb. It looks like right now they're taping it up. As soon as I get official information, I'll bring it to you.
All right, Trace, thank you. And in the meantime, Rashawn Grant remains down on the field at the 42-yard line. Suffered a hard hit that knocked him down. And time has been called. There's the second hit. Appears to have been the cause of the injury. We'll check when we come back. Training staff and the doctors out on the field still tending to Rashawn Grant, who's now been assisted to a sitting position, but being ever so careful. And in the meantime, David Green did trot off the field and go into the locker room for further attention. Here's Rashawn Grant being assisted to his feet. And a moment ago, David Green took the opportunity to jog off the field and head into the Georgia locker room. Pay attention to that left thumb.
As Tracy mentioned, they were looking at his left thumb, and I think he may have dinged it on the touchdown pass to Fred Gibson. Take a look after he threw the football. Well, I don't know, just he landed funny on the ground because he didn't hit Eric Henderson. But yeah, he is looking at his left thumb right there at the end of that play. So and we don't see P.J. Daniels in the ball game. It looks like Zemefe and Chris Woods, the 2 backs in now for Georgia Tech.
And they will go from the set club. Zemefe is number 28. Chris Woods number 24. Here comes the blitz. Ball too high. Oh, he laid Nate Curry out on that one.
And they had him open. And that's a couple of second down passes that Reggie Ball has had his guy open in single coverage and not able to make the completion. It's a lot harder on 3rd down because Georgia gets into a little bit more of their tricky defenses and some of their pressures on 3rd down. Easier to throw against this defense on 2nd down.
This is Zemefe. It's 3rd down and 7.
Plus David Pollock was on the bench on the 2nd down play. He's on the field right now.
Here comes the blitz. They screen it left side. Caught by Chris Woods. And Woods to the 35-yard line. That might be enough for the 1st down. All right, Tim, thank you. 4th and 1 here. They came up short. Rashawn Grant being assisted to the locker room. Zemefe is the running back. 2 tight ends. The handoff. Zemefe bounces back, stopped.
They lost yardage.
Gerald Anderson got down low, made the contact. Thomas Davis came up to complete the action.
4th down 1, and Zemefe was not very determined there. I mean, he kind of tippy-toed in there to the line of scrimmage. You got to hit this hard. Actually, he ran into his own guy, Honeycutt, the guard. Gerald Anderson just knocked the guard, Honeycutt, right back into the backfield, and Zemefe had nowhere to go.
Georgia takes over on downs, and DJ Shockley is the quarterback, the junior from College Park, Georgia, who has played in every game save 1 this year. There's the handoff left side. That's Danny Ware, number 28. Began this season as a freshman running back and rushed for 135 yards in his first game. DJ Shockley for his career, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, much more of a running threat than is David Green.
Next year will be his year to shine here. You know, he's had to battle some injuries, not this year, but the 2 previous years, a knee injury, a foot injury. As you mentioned, he's played in 24 games, but he has yet to start a game as the Georgia quarterback. But next year will be his time to be the guy.
There's the screen pass to Sean Bailey. That is a pass and not a lateral, though it was very, very close.
Very close.
DeJuan Landry back there. And Tracy's got an update on Rashawn Grant.
That's right, Vern. They diagnosed him with a neck injury. They've taken him back to the locker room for more observation. No update on whether he'll return or not.
Thank you, Tracy. 3rd and 7. Green in the locker room, Grant in the locker room. It's 7-0 here. The touchdown came on a pass from David Green to Fred Gibson.
This shows you what Georgia thinks about the Georgia Tech third down defense. This is standard personnel, I formation, maximum protection to protect DJ Shockley.
Good job of blitz pickup, and there's Pope. Leonard Pope inside the 25. Terrific block by the running back. 35-yard gain.
A very smart decision. Keep both of your backs in here so you have 7 guys blocking, and Pope is going to run right down the middle of the field, and Shockley with good protection is going to be able to hit him. You keep both backs in, good protection against a blitzing defense, and then you throw it down the middle to your 6'7" tight end. That was a good call on 3rd down.
A first down after the 35-yard gain, and Danny Ware with the block, along with that of Jeremy Thomas, that gave Shockley the time. And off Ware goes right. Hit by the middle linebacker, Jarris Wilkinson, number 49. He's got the tackle at the 21-yard line. David Green back on the sidelines. 4 of 9 in the early going, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. And let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Vern. I have an update on David Green. He is back out of the locker room. They taped up his left thumb. He has a sprained left thumb. He will return to the game, though.
I think it was when he hit the ground. I think he landed funny on the ground at the end of that touchdown throw, and that's when the injury occurred.
And off Danny Ware, he comes left to the 19-yard line. All right, 3rd and 5. That is the end of the 3rd quarter here, 1st quarter. As David Green has taped up his left thumb. And we've reached the end of the 1st. We'll return to Sanford Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. Best friends. David Pollock said yesterday he's learned a lot about life in the last 2 years, like how to cook and how to clean.
I'm not sure I'd want to go to his Thanksgiving meal if he was cooking, but I think he's pretty mean with a Foreman grill. He does a lot of chicken breasts on Foreman grills, I think.
3rd and 5 at the 19. Shockley still in the quarterback. Here comes the blitz. Shockley dances to his right, throws it incomplete at the 10-yard line. James Butler was the closest. Well, we've gone back and looked at a couple of pass plays, and we think we might have found the specific play where David Green got hurt.
Yeah, they tried to throw a screen pass before the touchdown, and watch as Green releases the ball. He might catch the top back of the helmet of Kamichael Hall, number 35, who was rushing the quarterback, and that might be where the injury occurred. That ball was nearly intercepted, and may have been the result of that hit on the helmet.
Andy Bailey, who's 13 of 19 for the year, is on to attempt his 36-yard field goal to pad the lead. Kick is up, and it's good. So Bailey in the rain from 36. Freshman out of Athens, Tennessee. Gives Georgia a 10-0 lead. Now the SEC standings, Tennessee 7-1, and Georgia 2 losses, 1 to Auburn and 1 to Tennessee. That was here at Sanford Stadium, 19-15. I think back on the Georgia season, they came off an unbelievable victory over LSU here, and then stubbed their toe big time against Tennessee.
It was interesting because Tennessee came into that game here and nobody really gave them a chance, and they really used that as a motivational tool, and they'll have the same situation next week when they go to Atlanta to play Auburn.
Here's Katu, and this one taken by LeVon Thomas, number 7. Goes right, and he gets out to the 22-yard line where he is tackled. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, Tracy Wolfson back with you at Sanford Stadium in the rain. Impressions of the 1st quarter.
Well, I think that Georgia looks better than they did the last time we saw them against Auburn. They are the superior team. It appears, physically in this ball game, they've outgained Georgia Tech 118-45 in that first quarter. I think for Georgia Tech, their defense is doing okay, but they've got to get some help from their offense. Reggie Ball needs to hit some passes. They've got to get the ball again in the hands of their best players, who are their wide receivers, and it's easier to throw on this Georgia team on first or second down than it is on third.
Here's Ball near side, Nate Curry, number 5, with the catch. And let's check in with Tracy Wilson.
Thanks, Vern. 2 more injuries to report on the Georgia sideline. Wide receiver Fred Gibson has a bruised right hip. They're checking him out right now on the sideline. Running back Danny Ware has a right hand injury. He was taken to the locker room. He is back out right now, but he is out for now. I will bring you more information as soon as I get it.
Okay, Tracy. Here comes Georgia Tech at the 31-yard line. A 2nd down and 2. Total yards now 118-53. And P.J. Daniels, number 45, he is on the field, gets the handoff. And Daniels, the oft-injured tailback, gets the carry and looks like enough for the first down at the 34.
What it looks like Brian Van Gorder and the Georgia defensive staff was impressed with what Virginia did last week against Georgia Tech in the running game, because they were the only team all season that held Georgia Tech under 100 yards rushing, held them to 86 yards, and what they did was they brought inside linebacker pressure a lot on early downs to stop the run. Now, Virginia plays a 3-4 defense. Most teams play a 4-3 or 4 defensive linemen front in college football, but still inside linebacker pressure for Georgia today.
Saw the season stats for Daniels, that despite missing 4 games. And here's Ball rolling out. He'll keep it. And runs out of bounds as Odell Thurman closes in on him. Well, this Georgia team, 2 losses for the year. Here are the remaining undefeated teams so far. Southern Cal plays tonight, of course, and then they've got UCLA, Oklahoma, Auburn, Utah, and Boise State. And it's time for the Aflac trivia question. When was the last time at least 5 teams finished the season undefeated? And that includes postseason. So it seems an appropriate weather atmosphere to have the Aflac duck. Here's Daniels.
Nice run.
Sure was.
You can just tell he knows how to find the holes. And Georgia Tech is a different offense when P.J. Daniels is in the game, and Reggie Ball is a different quarterback when P.J. Daniels is in the game. He makes them much better.
Look at that, 307 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Humanitarian Bowl in Boise last year when they defeated Tulsa, and it would appear that's where they're destined again this year. Not for sure, but here goes Fred Gibson, another senior. David Green has been in the locker room, and now Gibson limping as he heads to the locker room. 3rd down.
Yeah, short yardage situation. Gerald Anderson really blew it up, number 92.
This time it's a quarterback keeper. And appears to have enough for the first down at the 45. Reggie Ball.
I think it was a good decision by Chan Gailey and offensive coordinator Patrick Nix. The last time on that 4th and 1, they took the ball off the line of scrimmage. There's Patrick Nix signaling in the plays, former Auburn quarterback. And they gave it to the tailback, and there was too much penetration to get the first down. That time they let the quarterback just take the snap and find a crease and get the conversion.
1st and 10. 10-0 Georgia. Play fake, Ball rolling right, looks downfield, drills it, caught at the 45-yard line by Calvin Johnson, number 21.
And you got to remember, he still is very young. He's still a sophomore. A lot of people want to compare him to Joe Hamilton, who was, I think, the last great quarterback that Georgia Tech had. Joe Hamilton started for 4 years, and it really wasn't until the end of his sophomore year that he really stepped it up and showed that steady progress.
See the measurement just short of the first down at the 45-yard line. Here's the comparison to Bull and Hamilton. Hamilton runner-up in the Heisman voting. And this is as sophomores now. Joe Hamilton with 66% completion and 7 interceptions. And with 17 for Reggie Ball. That's number 2 in the NCAA Division I rankings this year. 2nd and inches.
It's been one of those things where when he makes mistakes, they've been pretty glaring mistakes, and it's overshadowed a lot of the good things that he's done in this his 2nd year as a starter.
Bubble, play fake after the fumbled snap, and he throws it away. Tim Jennings is the closest one there, and nice catch by somebody in the rain gear on the sideline.
Well, here's what they did. 2nd down and inches, a chance to take a shot down the field to their great freshman Calvin Johnson, but he bobbled the snap. Oh, that's a I'm not sure what that fake is, but Georgia didn't buy it. They didn't get any kind of mesh with the back to sell the fake, but Calvin Johnson was a one-man route and he was not open. They'll probably go quarterback sneak again here for the 1st down.
3rd and inches at the 45. They do, and they got it.
And that's the right place to go, too. I mean, there was a little bit of a gap just to the right of the center, and Reggie Ball alertly saw that. If he'd have tried to go straight ahead or to the left of the center, it might have been a little difficult.
Chan Gailey's team 4-4 again this year for the Yellow Jackets in the ACC. Virginia Tech 6-1. Just one.
Georgia Tech 4-4 in the league for 4 consecutive years. I mean, the good news is they've been 500 or better for 10 straight, but that 4-4 for 4 years, a little bit too mediocre for some Tech fans.
Here comes the blitz. Oh boy! Derek White, number 53, had a clean shot. Flags are down. Unimpeded.
Well, and again, the reason that this is so effective is they're anticipating run and they're timing the blitz because they're timing Reggie Ball's snap count.
Unsportsmanlike against Georgia.
I think because Derek White's helmet came off at the end of that play. But watch, here's Derek White. He's going to hit this thing full speed because they're anticipating the snap count correctly. See, you have no chance to block a guy if he gets a full head of steam on a blitz. That's why as a quarterback, you've got to see he took his helmet off.
Yep.
And that's the celebration unsportsmanlike.
Well, he'll hear about that when he gets to the bench.
Basically wipes out a great play he made.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 53 on the defense. Removed his helmet. 15 yards. 2nd down.
Well, you saw Mark Richt come out. Wants to have a little chat.
ACC officiating crew, but that's a no-brainer there.
Sure it
Guy
is.
takes his helmet off. And,
Sure it is.
Excessive celebration, unsportsmanlike penalty, and now instead of the loss yardage, it's 2nd and very short again for Georgia Tech.
From inside, and here's the quarterback keeper again, Reggie Ball. All right, thank you, Tim. It looks a little nicer in Tulsa this afternoon than it does here in Athens, Georgia. 1st down and 10, Georgia Tech. Reggie Ball hurried 6 times tonight. He's got plenty of time on this one, and that one took off on him. Intended for Calvin Johnson.
And he immediately goes to the towel. He rips the towel out of his pants to dry his hands off. Now he goes to get a new towel. That one's wet. I need a dry towel and a better grip on the ball because that one really sailed on it. I like that they're throwing on 1st down, though, because I think that's where they're going to have their best opportunity to get the ball in the hands of their best players. 3rd down against this Georgia defense or this Georgia Tech defense, very difficult to throw the football.
2nd and 10. 12th play of this drive. And off to Daniels. He spilled after a gain of 3 at the 30-yard line. David Pollock, number 47, was there to make the stop.
P.J. Daniels, we saw what he did in that bowl game last year out in Boise, but for the season last year, 1,447 yards, the 2nd best ever for a Georgia Tech running back. Just had an outstanding year last year and then has just had trouble staying healthy in this his junior season. But he really makes a difference when he's in the lineup for Georgia Tech.
Most recently had arthroscopic knee surgery on the 9th of November. 3rd and 8.
Georgia looks like they're lined up off sides. That guy down right here in the bottom looks like he's lined up offside to me.
That guy is David Pollock. There's no flag. There's Odell Thurman, and he turned him upside down.
See, this is the problem. Third down is going to be tough against this Georgia defense. I think they're stronger and quicker than the guys up front for Georgia Tech. Take a look. David Pollock, he's got his eyes right on the ball, so he knows where he's got to be. Quarterback draw and just too much penetration, and Odell Thurman concentrating on the quarterback all the way.
Fourth down. No field goal attempt. They'll go for the first down. And now time has been called by Georgia. That's their second.
Yeah, that was called from the sideline by the Georgia coaches.
Time called here. CBS Sports coverage of the Home Depot SEC on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. Yes, it is, Tim. Let me see if I understand. Oh, never mind. Let's talk about what's going on here instead of the BCS for a moment. There's David Pollock, senior from Snellville. It's fourth down and 8. Ball on the Georgia 31.
I think under dry conditions, Georgia Tech would opt for a field goal here. Travis Bell has kicked a 47-yarder earlier in the year, but because of the weather, they're forced to go for it. They don't want to take the chance of a snap.
Calvin Johnson now goes into the slot. His ball. He's going to the right side, deep for Nate Curry, and overthrows him by a good 10 yards.
There's a flag down, though,
yes,
and it might be roughing the quarterback.
Thurman might have gotten there.
Holding.
Oh, holding. Look at Brian Van Gorder. Ha! Last year's Frank Royals Assistant Coach of the Year talked with us yesterday about the absence of chemistry on this defensive unit, particularly when Thomas Davis went out.
Yeah, they had played really good defense up to that point, and when he went out, not only is it hard to replace a great player, but from, like you mentioned, from a chemistry standpoint, they've been kind of floundering here for a couple weeks, playing pretty solid in the ball game so far today.
Time called. Georgia has the ball. Senior day in Athens, David Pollock gets a rest. A small irony, that touchdown pass went from that man, David Green, who has a sprained thumb, to Fred Gibson, the other senior who last we heard was in the locker room with a hip pointer. First down and 10. Here's Shockley, who remains in, hands it off to Thomas Brown. Nice bit of running out to the 40. Yes, it was.
I mean, Georgia Tech had that hemmed in, and Thomas Brown just made some folks miss. This, I think, is what makes this young back pretty special. Thomas Brown is able to make people miss in the box. Even though there's extra defenders in there, watch him just step around people. Little juke, even on a wet field, you see defenders slipping, but Thomas Brown, because he's moving forward, able to keep his balance very well.
Game 9, second down and 1, a 10-0 game. 7:35 to go. Here's Brown, slips through right tackle, and is out to the 43. Well, it is time for the answer to the
Aflac
trivia question of the week. The last time at least 5 teams finished the season undefeated, what year was it? 1973. 6. This is all the way through the season, bowl games included. Irish, Buckeyes, Sooners, Knits, Wolverines.
Of course, we don't have ties anymore,
right?
You know, with the overtime, so it's a little bit different this year.
Play fake, reverse. Reggie Brown, number 1. He's a great athlete, and a pretty good job by Kenny Scott staying home, number 2, and preventing Brown from getting loose with that great speed he has.
Well, it's just good to see Reggie Brown back on the field. I enjoyed our visit with him yesterday at the football building. The concussion in the Auburn game, he didn't practice at all during the open week, and had they played the next week, obviously he wouldn't have been able to play. But he was able to rest that whole week. He started practicing again this week. He's, as you mentioned, a tremendous athlete, a very strong guy, and has been able to bounce back from that big hit in the Auburn game, and then be out there again on his senior day.
Play fake, Shockley holding, flag, so DJ Shockley gets loose around the right side, but this one's coming back. Reggie Brown, Carrollton, Georgia, said it came down to Georgia or Ohio State when he was trying to make a decision as to where he would play. Had to sit out the 2001 season, torn ACL. Been a significant part of this wonderful 4-year run though for the senior class. After the holding call, second down, here's Shockley back. He's in trouble, gets rid of it, almost picked off. Whoa, James Butler was there.
See, now Georgia Tech is still going to, they're not going to change their personality with Shockley in the game. They're still going to pressure, but they've got to be under control when they pressure this guy, because if he takes off and gets outside of the contain as a runner, he can make some big plays. That time he tried to stay in the pocket and force the throw. Very lucky it wasn't intercepted.
DJ Shockley, he's had his share of disappointments in his career here, and Mark Richt was telling us they had the quarterback meeting the day before Thanksgiving, and he asked each of his young men what they were thankful for most. And DJ Shockley said for the opportunity to grow as a man and deal with the disappointments he's had here. Here's Shockley going deep right side. He's got Bailey open. Bailey's got it. Oh, he got 2 yards behind Butler.
And they did the same thing that they hit Leonard Pope on a 3rd down and long situation. Knowing that Georgia Tech likes to blitz, they went into the I formation and went maximum protection. They're going to keep both backs in to block with these 5 linemen. They go take off here, the tight end goes out and the wide receiver goes out, and they block with everybody else. Block all the pressure and then take a shot down the field. And Bailey ran by the corner, and Shockley able to get the football out there past Kenny Scott.
53-yard gain, longest pass catch for Bailey in his career, longest pass completion this season for Shockley. Here's Thomas Brown inside the 5 to the 3.
Very interesting strategy for Mark Richt and the Georgia offense, because they told us yesterday the thing about this Georgia Tech defense is they get people in 3rd down and 11 plus more than anybody that we've faced. And that's Jeremy Thomas down on the field at the end of that play. But that's where they have been effective, is getting people in 3rd down and 11 plus. Well, Georgia, both of their big plays in the passing game today have come in 3rd down and long yardage, and both times they've gone to maximum protection and thrown one-on-one routes.
Jeremy Thomas, who began his collegiate career at the Air Force Academy, played there on the junior varsity, decided to transfer, sat out, walked on at Georgia, and was awarded the scholarship. He is one of the 8 scholarship seniors. I'm not sure he appreciates that route right now. Not thinking about it. Boy, he took a blow to the cheek or the forehead.
It's been a tough afternoon for the seniors here at Georgia so far.
David Green, Fred Gibson, Jeremy Thomas. It's 2nd and goal. And Des Williams, number 35, is the fullback now. Sophomore from Tequila, Georgia. Shockley, quick setup, right side, Reggie Brown, touchdown, Georgia.
I think Georgia Tech's defense was thinking run all the way there with 1st and goal. Another good call from the Georgia sideline, because Reuben Houston, he never knew where the football was.
Fourth touchdown toss of the season for DJ Shockley. Reggie Brown makes the grab, and Andy Bailey is on for the extra point. Lee Jackson will hold it. Brian Jordan snaps it back. Doink. Well, that is his first missed extra point of the season. Andy Bailey, the only scholarship kicker that Mark Richt has ever signed. Euclid. So it is 16-0. Shockley finds Brown for the touchdown. And the Bulldogs lead it 16-0 in Athens. Mark Richt and his bunch on top by 16, trying to win their 9th of the year. As they try and win their 4th in succession against Georgia Tech. Now there's the human Uga. Well, not Uga. The human mascot. Haven't seen Uga.
We have the human Uga down in our truck.
We do.
In truck 2.
Where is Uga?
Uga might be in the lean-to with Tracy. Must have left the house and went into the bigger lean-to.
Trying to keep dry. Here's Katu to kick off. LeVon Thomas is deep. Short. Thomas at the 11. Missed the open field tackle. Brandon Miller is down number 12 to get a second effort at him. And let's go back to the touchdown toss from Shockley to Brown.
Well, it's man-to-man coverage, and so Brown is going to start off and show fade. That means Reuben Houston is going to keep his eyes on the receiver and go with them. But this is an intentional underthrow because at the last minute, Reggie Brown is just going to kind of fade back to the sideline, and DJ Shockley knows right where to throw it. Sell the fade and then intentionally throw it short, and the defender has no chance. Sell the fade, come back to the ball. Houston never knew where the ball was, and that was very well executed.
And it's first down and 10 now for Reggie Ball and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. He goes deep left side for Calvin Johnson, and it's incomplete. The coverage provided by Demario Minter, number 2. Johnson, just an enormously talented wide receiver.
Yeah, a 6'4", he's 225 pounds, and he has great speed. He ran a 4.3 in camp, but he just doesn't bring this one in. This is a good throw, and he had Minter beat, and the normally sure-handed Calvin Johnson not able to bring that one in. I saw him before the game with Buddy Geist, the wide receiver coach. All the other receivers were running just little fade routes, kind of warm-up routes. Buddy Geist had him about 10 yards away throwing bullets at him, and he was snagging everything, but that was before the rain started.
There's Johnson in motion. They fake the reverse, and the handoff goes to P.J. Daniels, who is cut down almost immediately. It'll be 3rd and long. Odell Thurman. Now let's a touchdown. Here's Mark Richt and DJ Shockley. Great.
I mean, you know, DJ Shockley, the way he has handled this situation with David Green, those two guys, I mean, that's been a big key to the Georgia success over the last 3 years as well. Those two guys handling the quarterback situation the way Mark Richt wanted them to.
3rd and 9. Here's Ball. Moves out to his left. Pulls up. He's in trouble. Guess who's going to get that one? Guess who's going to get that one? Trying to become the first 3-time All-American at Georgia since a guy named Herschel. I think he's a lock for that.
The guy who was tied for first in the SEC with 7.5 sacks maybe just jumped into first place now with 8.5. They tried to move Reggie Ball to put him in a different position, but as soon as he started going back and forth, David Pollock never, ever gives up on a play.
David Green getting an early trip to the locker room, looks back. Here's the punt by Arndt, and it ain't. That's a fair catch at the 49. Among other things, David Pollock, and there is a flag down. David Pollock has now tied Reggie White of Tennessee on the list of all-time career sack leaders in the SEC. Holding. Georgia.
Well, where this one was thrown, it might have been holding on one of the outside gunners because this was thrown from the sideline.
Holding number 23 on the receiving team during the kick. It's a post-scrimmage kick foul, 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
That's on Tim Jennings, the cornerback.
Still pretty good field position for Georgia. Not as good as it would have been, but DJ Shockley, after that impressive touchdown drive, the big completion on 3rd down, and then the touchdown on 1st and goal, back on the field.
And there are a few of the hardy and the brave who are sitting through this rainstorm. They sold all the seats here, but not all the seats have been filled. Tonight it's a raw, nasty night. 1st down and 10. Shockley, as David Green has gone to the locker room. And they got him. Reese was there, number 18, Chris Reese, with his 8th sack of the season.
Yeah, this is a guy who played safety for the last 2 years. They moved him to outside linebacker this year. He's not a real big linebacker, 6'1", 219 pounds, but good speed, and he knows how to get to the quarterback. As you mentioned, his 8th sack on the season. Junior out of Roswell, Georgia.
Of course, you know his nickname, the Torpedo. Max Gene Gillis getting into his stance on last loss of 7 at 2nd down and 17. Shockley with pressure. That results in a one-hopper at the feet of Leonard Pope.
And it was Reese again. And again, Georgia resorting to the max protection type scheme, but Chris Reese able to get in there and disrupt that play as well.
Mark Richt, 4th season, came here from Florida State. Offensive coordinator under Bobby Bowden. Had 40 people at his home for Thanksgiving dinner. 4-0.
Now, if I was John Tenuta here, I would not blitz on this 3rd and long. I would play zone defense and force the underneath throw, because the last 2 3rd and longs, Shockley's burning them.
Hand off, they'll keep it on the ground, and
Good
Georgia
defense.
will punt. Yep.
That was a great series by Chris Reese. He was involved in all 3 plays.
Time call Georgia Tech with 2:31 to go. That is the first of their 3. Chan Gailey grew up in Americus, Georgia. Quarterback in Florida back in the 70s and a one-time head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you, Trey. 16-0. David Pollock got the sack earlier. David Green threw a touchdown earlier. He's in the locker room. Small note, they were born 3 days apart. David Pollock, June 19th, 1982 in New Jersey. David Green, June 22nd, 1982 here in Georgia. Gordon Ely Kelso on to punt. This one hangs up. And Patrick Clark says, I'm going to get away from it. It'll bounce out of bounds. Patrick Carter, that is. And Ely Kelso comes to the near side. Well, the list of awards, postseason awards. The finalists have been posted for a number of them now. David Pollock, a final for the Bednarik, the Nagurski, the Lombardi Award, and the Lott Award semifinalist. David Green, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm finalist, and the Maxwell Award semifinalist. Here's Pollock, 1 sack in the ball game. Handoff goes to Chris Woods, number 24.
You can't bounce and dance against this Georgia defense. Now, there's some pretty good defenses in the ACC, especially now with Miami and Virginia Tech being in and Florida State. But this is a fast SEC defense, and when you start trying to bounce things outside, you're not going to get anywhere. You got to go straight ahead against these kind of defenses.
There's ball with a keeper. After the fake, he goes right, and Tim Jennings is there to force him out of bounds. It'll be 3rd down. That's next week. 3rd and 7 here. Ball comes near side. Calvin Johnson has the grab, and he's tackled immediately at the 45-yard line. That is good for a 1st down.
And there you saw the excellent hands by this big young receiver. His 3rd catch of the ball game at a much-needed time, working on DeMario Minter. A size mismatch, and then he goes up and snags it with those hands for the big 1st down.
Calvin Johnson came down to a choice of Georgia Tech. He opted to stay Georgia Tech, and that's picked off out of bounds. Tim Jennings, number 23.
Reggie Ball should be happy he threw such an ugly pass on this one, because this one took off on him and threw it out of bounds. And good for him, it wasn't intercepted. Jennings in good position to make a play on the ball, but you see that foot comes down out of bounds.
That one sounded or looked a little bit like a certain duck we know. Georgia Tech 6 possessions, punt, downs, and punt.
Well, under 80 yards of offense here in the 1st half, too. Georgia has really shut them down.
Here's ball forced into the run. DeMario Minter comes up to make the tackle at the 48.5-yard line. That'll be short of the 1st down. with 1:17 to go. They do have 2 timeouts left.
Reggie Ball looks like he's banged up, and he's calling a timeout because he's a little banged up, I think. He's coming off holding his right hand, or we've already seen David Green leave the game with a left thumb. We might see Reggie Ball have to do the same thing. I don't know. It could have been an elbow, could have been a shoulder. He looks to be okay on the sideline. He's putting his play wristband back on. That's a good sign. That means he's probably going to come back in. As it is, though, Demarius Bilbo is in.
Bilbo this year has been playing at wide receiver. He was a quarterback in 2002 before moving out to the wideout position the last 2 years. So we may be seeing his first throw of the year, 3rd and 5.
Or we may see a quarterback draw.
There comes the blitz. Odell Thurman, Bilbo right side, incomplete.
Nice throw. That's tough on a cold, wet day to come off the sidelines and come into a 3rd down and 4 situation.
Let's see, a ball comes back out. Now they're going to punt.
Well, they've gone for 2 4th down situations and have failed both times. So this time they want to prevent anything bad from happening here right before the half and kick the ball away.
And Georgia's not got a return man on the field. And Thomas Davis, they don't have the right personnel on the field. Here's the punt. There's nobody back. There were 10 men on the field for Georgia as Thomas Davis had come off, and this one will limp to a rest at the 6-yard line.
Georgia tried to call a timeout right there on the sideline when Thomas Davis was coming off the field, but the referee had already started the action and wouldn't give it to him. That was special. That looked like a men among boys right there.
Well, that whole family is special. Archie and Olivia, Peyton, Eli, and Cooper. That is, I think, without question, the first family of football. 16-0.
You know, I hope that Mark Richt doesn't have the heat turned up in the locker room, because on a day like this, if it's too warm in there, boy, you're not in a big hurry to run back out. Keep that air conditioner on there so they don't feel much different. They will change their shirts, though. The underneath shirts, they'll put some dry stuff on.
Well, on a soggy Saturday in Georgia, this one is very reminiscent of an old Brooke Benton tune. It's a rainy night in Georgia. I was kind of hoping you'd break into song.
I know the song, I just didn't know the artist. You threw me again, my man.
Well, I got you by a few years. Back at Sanford Stadium on the campus of the University of Georgia, 16-0. The Bulldogs lead the Yellow Jackets in this 97th battle. And midway through the first half, this was David Green back to throw an attempted screen pass. His left thumb appeared to make contact with the helmet of K-Michael Hall. And this was a moment ago. David Green back on the field after the intermission. And Tracy Wolfson just spoke with Mark Richt. Tracy?
Coach, can you give us an update on David Green?
I think he's got a little crack in his thumb, and he won't play the rest of the day. They feel like he's got a real good shot at coming back for the bowl, but right now he's just got a little crack there. Danny won't play again either today.
Really, how disappointed is Green right now?
Well, he's disappointed, but he's happy for DJ. He's happy for the team to be in the lead right now, I'm sure.
Thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trace. David Green on the sideline. Todd just telling me that you had a similar injury.
Well, yeah, mine was actually, I dislocated mine doing the same thing. Hit it on a helmet, and I actually had to get surgery. The fact that it's broken might even be better for David Green. As Mark Richt said, good chance that he could be back for the bowl game with the crack. And but yeah, it's it's one of those injuries. If it's any other position, a cracked thumb really doesn't mean that much. But for a quarterback, if it's your throwing thumb, it's a very serious injury.
So we will see DJ Shockley after the kickoff. Here's Kyle Belcher with the kick. And this will be taken by Tyson Browning at the goal line, near side, out to the 19-yard line where he is stopped. Well, a really tough way for David Green's career at Sanford Stadium to end. But tell us a little bit about DJ Shockley and what you thought of him in the first half.
Well, I thought he played very well. You know, it's a wet conditions. He wasn't knowing how much he was going to play when the game started. And when they got their touchdown with him in there, you know, that was a critical possession. You didn't know whether David Green was going to come back in the game or not. It wasn't just his normal, you know, one series in the first half. It was his second series, and he made some nice plays when he's in there. So this is a great opportunity for DJ Shockley to run the show and to just keep improving as a quarterback here for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Hand off on the draw play, and that's Thomas Brown. DJ Shockley, the junior from College Park, now near the Atlanta Airport, 3 of 7, 91 yards, had the big pass of 53 to Sean Bailey, and the touchdown toss of 3 yards to the senior Reggie Brown. Well, that's an encouraging sight, though it is still raining, and I think roughly half of those who were here are not anymore. 2nd down and 5. You see a lot of empty seats. 2nd and 5. And that's going to be motion on the right side. Flag down. Let's take a look at the halftime stats presented by the Hartford.
We'll take a look at the total yards. Georgia Tech only 82 total yards in that first half and no big plays. You know, Georgia had a couple big plays on 3rd and long, a couple big pass plays. The longest or best play that Georgia Tech had in the first half was a 13-yard pass completion. So for them to get back in this ball game, when they get the ball on offense, they've got to get some big plays with their big play receivers.
2nd and 10 after the penalty. Ball back at the 20-yard line. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 wide right. Another motion call. I think that's Leonard Pope again.
See, one of the things when you're going on a little bit of a longer snap count, which the last 2 plays DJ Shockley has done, you got all that movement.
Start. Number 72 on the offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Not Pope.
You got all that movement that Georgia Tech likes to bring, not just blitzes and pressures, but they also do a lot of stunting and looping with their down linemen, and a little over anxious there on 2 plays in a row for the Georgia front.
2nd and 15. Blitz again. Shockley forced out to his left. Goes deep. Man coverage. Can he stop defending? Sean Bailey slips and falls as he tried to come back for the ball.
See, we call a blitz on that play, but it's really just a 5th guy rushing. There's 4 defensive linemen, and then they're bringing 1 extra guy, Chris Reese. But technically, that is considered a blitz. And that's what Georgia Tech does. Now, they'll bring at least 5 most of the time. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and here comes Chris Reese blitzing from the edge. They don't always play man coverage with that. A lot of times they play zone behind it, but they're normally going to bring at least 5 on a rush.
3rd and 15. Now they back 1 out. There's the adjustment defensively again. They bring 4. And it's a handoff to Thomas Brown. You heard Mark Richt tell Tracy that Danny Ware was through for the day. So Brown will get the majority of the runs, and Hawaii makes the tackle. 4th and 15.
Take a look at what they do. They bring people from a lot of different directions. And when we talk to David Green and Mark Richt, they say, hey, if you think LSU blitzes a lot, you should see these guys. LSU, it's over 50%. These guys, it's close to 70%, whether it's a running or a passing situation.
Gordon Ely Kelso back near the goal line. This one, Patrick Clark runs up, takes it on the run, trips and falls. He's down at the 43, but Georgia Tech with excellent field position to start this 3rd quarter on offense. 16-0. Rain has subsided, but has not yet quit raining. Reggie Ball with a smile despite not being on the field, injured in the latter stages of the 2nd quarter, 6 of 14. And Demarius Bilbo is in the huddle. Number 8, David Pollock urging those who remain to get a little noisy.
Well, most of Bilbo's work came in 2002. He's been a wide receiver for the most part since then, but he does have a good arm. I was watching him in warm-ups before the game.
Here's good protection. He goes right. He's completed his first pass of this year, and he goes to Calvin Johnson, number 21.
See, I think what Georgia Tech needs to do, whoever's in there at quarterback, the strength of the team is the wide receivers. I think that if the Georgia corners play off and give you some cushion, I think you need to just raise up and throw quickly outside to those guys on a wet field and see if they can make somebody miss and get a big play. Again, 13 yards was the biggest play that they had in that first half. They've got to get some bigger chunks of yardage to get back into this football game.
That was enough for a first down. They brought the chain out and measured, and Calvin Johnson picked up the first down.
Now, Bilbo is built a little bit differently than Reggie Ball. Ball 5'11", 195. Bilbo is 6'3", 225 pounds. So a bigger quarterback may be able to see over the defense a little differently than Ball.
Good protection this time. Comes left side for Nate Curry. The tackle missed, but it did knock him down as Demario Minter makes the stop at the 23. Marius Bilbo, out of Mississippi. He's Mississippi High School Player of the Year. He's a junior from Moss Point, Mississippi. Baseball player drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers as a high schooler. And as Todd said, he threw for 3 touchdowns in 2002 before making the change to wide receiver. Here's the handoff left side. It goes to P.J. Daniels, and that gives us a moment.
Now, that's one of the great stories in college football, I think. I think what Gary Barnett was able to rally his troops to do at Colorado, and Mike Price with a second chance at UTEP, outstanding.
First down and 10 here at the 20-yard line. Here's Bilbo going deep left side in the end zone. LeVon Thomas, there's incidental contact, but no flag, and the official was 2 yards away. You know, this Georgia team shut out in the first half. You can see on their possessions 4 punts, and twice they lost it on downs.
Didn't do a very good job on third down to keep the ball. And one of the things that Georgia has tried hard to do is to not let Calvin Johnson beat them on a go route. They are really running to take away the deep route, which means I think you can throw in front of him. Look at that cushion in front of 21.
Bilbo looks that way, fires it one hopper behind Calvin Johnson. And we saw Reggie Ball standing next to Chan Gailey. Let's get an update. Here's Tracy.
Thanks, Vern. Reggie Ball has a bruised elbow, but he is clear to go back in. It's just a coach's decision to go with Bilbo instead.
This is where the injury occurred. It came on that tackle, latter stages, second quarter.
Well, and the good news for Reggie Ball is he fell on his left elbow, and he's a right-handed quarterback, so it's not his throwing arm that he injured.
Little hip hop on the Georgia sideline. Third down. Bilbo, good pass protection in the end zone, and he had a man wide open. LeVon Thomas was open by 5 yards.
That's 2 passes in this drive where just a little nervous energy maybe out of Bilbo that he overthrew. One was the takeoff route down the left sideline, and this one, as you mentioned it, Thomas was open in the middle. And this would have been an easy touchdown for Georgia Tech if Bilbo gets that ball down a little bit.
37-yard field goal for the freshman Travis Bell. He has hit his last 13 in a row. He missed from 46 in the season opener. Everything has been perfect since, including this one. And the Yellow Jackets are on the board. Travis Bell, a walk-on, a non-scholarship kicker, but they could have had the touchdown. At Sanford Stadium in Athens, 16-3, Georgia. Rain just about over here in Athens, Georgia. 16-3. Tech gets on the board with the field goal. Demarius Bilbo missed the touchdown, but gave him a little spark.
He sure did. You know, the defense started it with a good 3 and out. A couple penalties by Georgia helped the cause, and then Bilbo came in and hit a couple throws and did give him a spark. And to get on the scoreboard You know, it's still, I mean, it's only a 13-point lead, so it's not like they're completely blown out of the water here.
Kyle Belcher will kick off. Browning and McClendon are the deep men. This one is fairly short. It'll be McClendon at the 5-yard line. Brian McClendon comes right. Good coverage. Sure was. Georgia. And there is a fumble.
Yes, there is. And a different bounce on the Georgia Tech sideline.
Gary Guyton recovered it. Brian McClendon fumbled it.
The ball came out. A little careless work by McClendon as you see him get ready to get hit. They hit right on the football. Number 88, Chris Dunlap with the hit. Guyton comes up with the recovery, and that's a good call. That ball was out before he was down, and Georgia Tech and Demarius Bilbo right back in business.
Jonathan Jackson, number 32, is also there.
Reggie Ball's back in.
Here's Reggie Ball rolling right, gets a good block, fires it in the end zone. Tipped. Incomplete. Almost gathered in on the rebound. Levon Thomas was the intended receiver. Demario Minter was the defender.
And here's the irony of this. Demario Minter is from the same high school as the quarterback Reggie Ball. They both played at Stevenson High School, and that ball was underthrown by Reggie Ball. If he throws that out in front of Calvin Johnson, he has a touchdown. But because it was thrown under the receiver, Minter was able to recover and knock the ball away.
Getting the turnover, fairly rare occurrence for Georgia Tech this year. They were minus 14. Giveaway, takeaway coming into this game, but they get that one in the fumble recovery. Flag, dead ball.
Well, and getting interceptions, very rare for Georgia. Only 5, the fewest of any team in the SEC.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 74 on the offense. 5 yards, still second down.
Leon Robinson just a moment ago, the missed opportunity.
Well,
this was Bilbo.
Yeah, this was the third down play. In the middle of the field is what's open against cover 2. Those safeties split and defend the outside. You get somebody streaking down the middle in the overthrow. They were able to get 3 points, but when you're a team like Georgia Tech, who has been inconsistent and up and down, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. Now they just got another opportunity with the turnover. They must capitalize.
Comes the blitz, left side, contact. No flag. Tim Jennings, the defender. And it'll be third down and 15.
I'm just wondering if Chan Gailey just wanted Reggie Ball to just watch that first possession. I mean, clearly he's the quarterback. He's been there the whole year, and it wasn't like he played poorly in the first half. Bilbo gave him the spark, but now with the turnover, Ball back on the field, but a very difficult situation here with 3rd and 15.
Johnson winds up outside. Now he's in motion, sets up in the slot, play fake. Ball being chased by Pollock. Pulls up and lets it go into the end zone. There's contact with Greg Blue and the wide receiver Levon Thomas. Reggie Ball says, my gosh, there is a flag back at the 27-yard line. And Blue and Levon Thomas are having a brief chat.
No, they're calling a personal foul on Georgia. David Pollock, who was the guy that forced Reggie Ball out of the pocket. You don't normally see David Pollock make this kind of a mistake. I mean, he's a relentless player, and he never gives up on a play.
Personal foul, number 94. On the defense, half a distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Moses.
You know, this had to be away from the play because it wasn't where the quarterback was, I don't think.
On the right side of the screen.
See, there was nothing around the quarterback. Right here at the end of the play, Quentin Moses, there it was. Yeah, it was just the late shot at the end of the play, completely away from the action, and Brian Van Gorder is hot, and for good reason. That gave Georgia Tech a new set of downs inside the 10-yard line.
That's the 8th penalty on Georgia. 1st and goal from the 9. Ball, 5-step drop, right side. caught by Nate Curry at the 5-yard line. They might give him forward progress at the 3. It appears they will. Brian Van Gorder.
That was a dangerous throw. I mean, they were on the left hash, and he threw a little stop route all the way to the right sideline. Man, you see a little bit of the strength of Reggie Ball's arm on that play.
2nd and goal.
See the quarterback throwing the ball better, both Bilbo and Reggie Ball. The rain looks like it has stopped completely here in Athens now. Dry conditions.
Darius Williams, the tight end, tight to the right side. They hand it off. B.J. Daniels bounces and is down at the 1.
Reggie blew with the big hit. Now, these two safeties for Georgia are probably the best tandem of safeties in college football. They are outstanding hitters, great run support guys. You don't see many safeties hit a running back with a full head of steam and make him go backwards like Greg Blue did right there. P.J. Daniels was headed to the goal line, and then he got turned sideways right there by the hit by Greg Blue.
3rd and goal inside the 1. He'll throw it. Lofts it for Calvin Johnson.
There's Holt. That's a good
indeed.
call. Demario Minter was out there on an island with that big receiver, and Reggie Ball did a good thing. He threw the ball in a place to give Calvin Johnson a chance. And this will be a 1st down now for Georgia Tech. Johnson again, 6'4", 225 pounds. Demario Minter's 6 foot, and he's got a hold of the jersey, but the ball was not thrown. You know, the only thing that could have hurt him there is if it was thrown completely out of the play. He kept it in the field of play, and Calvin Johnson drew the penalty.
1st and goal, 16-13, 8:39 to go, 3rd quarter.
We watched that Texas A&M game yesterday. Don't go for a quarterback sneak and stick that ball over the goal line.
Here's the handoff. Daniels got him.
Great penetration.
Now they're running, and the ball.
It's marked down, but they lost yardage.
Yes.
I think Darius Swain, number 98, is the guy who made the penetration.
And Odell Thurman also there, number 33.
Watch the push on the right side. And of course, Pollock is in there too. Odell Thurman dove over the top. Jarvis Jackson with good penetration, number 45, and P.J. Daniels. I mean, he just had to come to a dead stop before he got to the goal line.
Lost a yard. There's Swain, number 98.
It's going to be tough to run inside on these guys. They might have to fake it and keep the ball in the hands of Reggie Ball here.
2nd and goal. Play fake. Ball under pressure, lobs it out, incomplete. 3rd goal.
I don't think a field goal is good here at all for Georgia Tech. After that penalty and they got 1st and goal, they have got to score a touchdown here. They've got the field position in their favor right now. They definitely need a touchdown.
Still like the play fake?
Well, I thought they might run a bootleg there. I mean, I think Georgia will be looking for play fake here on 3rd down.
Lobs it. Fade pattern. Incomplete. Flag.
Yeah,
another one.
That's another good call.
Demario Minter again.
I mean, he pushed him the whole way. Thomas Davis arguing that it was an uncatchable pass, but for a 6'4" leaper, I don't think it was uncatchable. One-on-one. Throw it up and give him a chance. And yeah, that was definitely a catchable pass if there's not contact. When that ball's in the air, you're not allowed to push on the receiver like Demario Minter did.
And a fresh series of downs for Georgia Tech. 2 penalties in the end zone on this series on number 2, Demario Minter.
And 3 penalties on 3rd down for Georgia in this drive.
Daniels, touchdown. Georgia Tech. It took a long time, but they get 6. And they can close to within 6.
Well, they got the penalties. They kept knocking on the door, and finally P.J. Daniels over the left side, able to get it into the end zone.
6 touchdown run. Here's the extra point. It's up and good. The sequence began with a fumble by McClendon on the kickoff. The other key play to give them 1st and goal was the personal foul on Quentin Moses, then 2 penalties in the end zone. Daniels finally gets the Georgia Tech touchdown. Now you can see a lot of empty seats. The rain chased many folks home at halftime. It was 16-0. But in this 3rd quarter, Georgia Tech has climbed right back into it, and they now trail by 6.
Yeah, I hope wherever those people went that they turned on CBS, because this game is going to get interesting.
Well, Brian McClendon, who fumbled the last kickoff return, will not be back to return this one. Thomas Flowers has taken his spot. Kyle Belcher, number 16, will kick it off. That's Tyson Browning, number 31, to the left. And the other spot is Thomas Flowers, number 29.
Thomas Flowers took over the punt returning job in the Vanderbilt game and has been an outstanding punt returner. Not normally accustomed to returning kickoffs, though.
Browning at the goal line. Got a chance for a big one. Nice open field tackle by Jamal Lewis, number 17. Now, after the touchdown, here was David Pollock coming over, the senior from Snelling, Georgia. He looks down at Quentin Moses, who was flagged for the personal foul, and says, "You've got to use your head."
But you know what? The good thing is, as a leader, he didn't yell at him. You know, he didn't make him look bad in front of his teammates. He just said, "Hey, be smart. You're smarter than that." Right now, the momentum is clearly on the Georgia Tech side. A great opportunity for quarterback DJ Shockley to turn things around.
He goes left for a first down and throws it behind Sean Bailey. And let's get more from Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Vern. David Pollock didn't yell at him, but as expected, defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder huddled up his defense and yelled at them. He said, "We are a championship program. That is what losers do." He says, "I like what your fight. I like your competitiveness out there." But he said, "Do anything stupid again, and you will pay the price."
All right, Trace, thank you. 2nd down and 10. This is the 4th game this year with 10 or more. They went through a stretch. Here's the handoff. Went through a midseason stretch when they had 33 penalties in 3 games. Yeah. And they're in double digits again today.
Well, and the thing to remember about that drive, 3 critical penalties all occurred on 3rd down. You know, when they had them just about stopped. The personal foul, a defensive holding in the end zone, and a pass interference in the end zone, both by DeMario Minter working on Calvin Johnson. So the penalties, a big problem there for Georgia.
Fred Gibson is out, hip pointer in the 1st quarter, the senior. Sean Bailey has taken his spot. He's wide to the left. Reggie Brown is wide right. Shockley dances left. He's in trouble, real trouble. I mean, serious trouble.
Great defense by Georgia Tech. They brought 5, but they played zone. And I think DJ Shockley thought it was going to be man-to-man, but it was a 2-deep zone with a 5-man rush. And once they got DJ moving sideways, then they used their speed to track him down. And this defense of Georgia Tech, not overly big, but very quick. The sack there by Eric Henderson. His 3rd of the season.
And for the 2nd time in the 3rd quarter, it's 3 and out for Georgia. And on 4th and 28, Ely Kelso will punt from near the goal line.
And Georgia Tech looks to maintain the edge and field position here unless something tragic happens to him.
Patrick Carter has it at the 49-yard line to the 38-yard line. That's a 36-yard punt, 11 on the return. Mark Richt's team has a tenuous 6-point lead.
Demarius Bilbo back in at quarterback. Maybe they're going to alternate series here in the second half.
On first down, here's Bilbo. Right side, a little behind that comeback pattern. Now let's go to the last possession in the sequence at the goal line, Todd.
Well, they tried to run it in. They got stopped, actually lost yardage. And threw incomplete. Reggie Ball threw it away. Then on third down, this is where they got the interference penalty. So they got new life on the goal line again. And first down, P.J. Daniels able to stick it in the end zone. But the penalties by Georgia really aided the Georgia Tech cause in that drive.
2nd and 10. Bilbo again, it's a one-hopper right side.
And that's two completions or connections that they've got to make. Whether it's Demarius Bilbo or Reggie Ball, they've got to make those. You can see neither guy with very good numbers, but they've got open receivers. And the best players on this Georgia Tech offense are those wide receivers. But you got to get them the football and let them do their thing.
Tech is 9 of 26 passing between the two quarterbacks.
Now you have Calvin Johnson working on a freshman, Paul Oliver, out there at the top of the screen.
Comes the blitz, flag down, bring it back. The flag was thrown before the snap. Here's the call.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 74 on the offense, 5 yards, still third down.
Senior day in Sanford Stadium in Athens. And we began this afternoon with a full house of 92,000. Rain chased a bunch of them away. David Green threw a touchdown toss to Fred Gibson. Second possession of the game. Both are out with injuries. Georgia led 16-0 at the half. It's been all Georgia Tech in the third quarter. They have a chance to take the lead on this possession, but they're looking at 3rd and long here. And there's Bilbo caught and dropped at the 44-yard line. Quentin Moses, who was flagged for a personal foul that indirectly led to the last Georgia Tech touchdown, gets the sock here.
And they got good pressure. Thomas Davis is coming. Moses comes. Pollock comes from this side, and they really collapse the pocket quickly. They also brought outside. Tim Jennings came and was unblocked. And a big third down stop by the Georgia defense.
Arndt nails it. Great kick. Boy, was it ever.
Should be inside the 10, I would think.
Comes the spot. It will be at the 10.
The 9 3/4.
I've always thought that to be a slightly inexact science.
I think you're right.
And David Green will not play again. Mark Rick telling Tracy Wilson, whoa!
Now this is, you know what this is? This is not an offsides. DJ Shockley in the center thought they drew him offside, so they snapped the ball. Russ Tanner in there at center, but Georgia Tech was not offside. So now it's 2nd down and 12 instead of first down. We saw David Green pull Georgia Tech offsides a couple times early. Watch, there is movement, but they don't cross into the neutral zone, and then they snapped it. DJ took a knee and lost it down.
2nd down and 12. Shockley, there's a one-hopper to Bailey.
Georgia Tech has turned this game in their favor. I mean, there's no question. The Georgia Tech defense right now feels like they've got a bead on DJ Shockley and this Georgia offense. They have controlled the run, and now they are finding ways to get pressure on DJ Shockley. And this 3rd down and long, again, Mark Rick told us, if you look at their cut-up reels, 3rd and 11 plus is the most plays. They force most people into that situation, and that's when they're really tough.
Georgia on 3rd and 12. Comes the pressure. Shockley fires it deep. That could be picked off. It's knocked away. Kenny Scott had both hands on it and cannot believe the opportunity goes awry. Intended for Sean Bailey.
Well, I think the reason that Kenny Scott didn't come down with it is I think Sean Bailey may have got a hand in there to knock it away. Scott has it in his sights, and Bailey able to get his right hand in there just enough to make it a difficult catch for Kenny Scott.
3rd possession, 3rd punt in this 3rd quarter. It's 4th and 12. Ian Kessel on Patrick Carter, and again it's going to be terrific field position for Georgia Tech. That's a nice punt. It chases Carter back to the 44, but it is returnable, but not far.
Great punt. Great punt and great coverage that time. There's Leonard Pope down there making the tackle on punt coverage.
A 48-yard punt and 6 on the return. It's time now for the Argent Mortgage quarterback comparison. David Green's day is complete. How's he stack up for the season, Todd, against Campbell and Leak?
Well, I think he stacked up very well. I think all three of those guys had outstanding seasons, but if I had to pick who was the outstanding quarterback in the conference this year, it would be Jason Campbell. I think what he's done and the level that he's played at all season, plus his team undefeated, he's the best quarterback in the league this year.
Reggie Ball back in. Calvin Johnson diving catch, made it at the 43-yard line. Okay, Tim, thank you. 2nd and 2 here. And P.J. Daniels bounces into his own man. It'll be 3rd down.
Odell Thurman with penetration got right into the backfield, and they've been able to do that against the Georgia Tech running game. They've been able to blitz inside linebackers and time the snap count and disrupt the timing of these running plays. That's about the 3rd or 4th time Odell Thurman has been successful doing that today.
3rd and 5. Late substitutions now. Brian Van Gorder.
He's going to go with his speed rushers. He took his big gap eaters out, and now he's got Pollock, Quentin Moses, and Ray Gant in there, and Thomas Davis will also come up on the end of the line to rush the passer.
Timeout is called by Georgia Tech. That's their first. So they will chat things over. Chan Gailey, Demarius Bilbo, Reggie Ball. Be right back. 2:20 to go, 3rd quarter, 3rd and 5, 16-10. Georgia trying to hold off this Georgia Tech 3rd quarter onslaught. It was 16-0 at the break. David Green out with an injury. Fred Gibson out offensively. Mark Richt trying to call on his defensive troops right now. Come up with a big play on 3rd and 5, and Chan Gailey hoping that his bunch can get a 1st down and keep this drive going. From the 45. Here's Reggie Ball. Here comes the pressure. Ball scrambles. He's got the 1st down plus, and he's tackled by Jarvis Jackson at the 35-yard line. That's a gain of 10.
Good decision by Reggie Ball. Now you want to throw it for the 1st down. It's not there. You're a good runner. Go ahead and get it that way. Any way you convert on 3rd down, you'll take. Reggie Ball, who has run for nearly 500 yards this year. Of course, he doesn't have a net 500 yards because of sacks yardage taken off, but he is an excellent runner from the quarterback position.
1st down and 10.
The movement movement by the tight end, George Cooper. Momentum killing penalties.
Prior to the snap, false start. 83 on the offense. 5 yards, still first
Now
down.
they're going to tag Williams with this one. Darius Williams.
I think it was 80. Not
I do
83.
too. And so does Darius
I
Williams.
think we just got a little correction also.
You can see it in the body language.
Yeah.
Darius Williams, what?
Yeah.
1st and 15. Calvin Johnson breaks off wide to the right side. Ball at the 40. Play fake. Ball back. Rolling right. Looking at Johnson all the way. And it's behind him and incomplete.
Now I'm going to tell you something. As a quarterback, I've been in some scary situations. But I don't know that there could be a scarier situation than that right there. Reggie Ball rolling out, throwing with Thomas Davis coming at you full speed.
And the other end.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson running the route, and he's open, but Reggie Ball had some problems of his own because Thomas Davis was snorting, coming at him like a charging bull.
Speaking of, I'll give the 6th. He didn't let the rain deter him. Here's ball back. Here comes Davis. The ball is caught. That's LeVon Thomas. That's another first down at the 23. There's a fumble. And I think that Thomas is going to be ruled down before the ball came out. Gain of 17.
Well, Thomas was in the slot working on Tim Jennings. Here he is right here, and he runs the out route, and he's going to be open because the safeties go back to the middle. So it's one-on-one against Jennings, and he gets outside of him, and there's no help outside. And a nice job by Reggie Ball reading the coverage and finding the open receiver.
You can see he was clearly, I think he was down. Ball back, right side. Pass incomplete at the 18-yard line. This was Nate Curry, number 5. I bet Archie Manning's got a smile right now. No?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Of course, Timmy has to get a plug in for the home state guy, the Louisiana guy.
Pride of Shreveport, Tim Brando. His ball. It's incomplete, almost picked off. As Derek White, number 53, made contact with the ball. And that's going to bring up 3rd and 10. Boy, this one has been played from the 50 on in this entire half.
Not only has Georgia Tech dominated field position, they've dominated time of possession, they've dominated yardage. Georgia only third quarter minus 15 yards of offense. I mean, they have gone backwards, and Georgia Tech has kind of put the pedal to the metal on them here in the third quarter.
Out of the shotgun, Reggie Ball. Looked like the quarterback draw all the way, and he's caught and dropped. That will bring up 4th down. And here comes the field goal unit on. So Travis Bell, the walk-on, who has made 14 consecutive field goals, will get an opportunity to add to that total and cut the margin in half, unless there is, of course, a fake. 40 yards for Bell. Chan Gailey peers in intently. Perfect.
How about my man, the kicker? They had a little, like the little salute, the kicker and the holder. Wasn't that cute?
Oh, what a thundering round of applause that does from you. Well, Todd, you have the responsibility for replay, so this one's all yours.
Well, I love kickers, as you know, and Travis Bell showed me a new little fake, the high five, psych. Flip off the chin strap. I guess when you're 15 for 16, you can get away with that.
Georgia Tech, 16 to 13. And Kyle Belcher will kick off. Minus 15 yards of offense in this quarter for this team in red. That's Tyson Browning.
Well, it's worth mentioning, too, with the 16-13 score, that missed extra point from Andy Bailey. Pretty big right now.
Nice kick. Wow. That'll be a touchback come out to the 20. Georgia with 7 seconds to go in the third quarter. Still looking for their first down.
You know, as we watch DJ Shockley get ready to come back on the field, as you see what they had done prior to today in the third quarter, DJ Shockley has played in 25 games now in his career. He's never started a game, but I don't know that he's ever been in a situation like this where David Green is hurt, where he's on the field. Even though his team is leading, the momentum has slipped away from his football team. So this game, very much in question, is totally in his hands right now.
He's 3 of 11 for 91 yards. They slip the ball to the second man through. Thomas Brown, he picks up 1. And that is it for quarter number 3. David Green, cracked bone in his left thumb, his throwing hand. So his career at Sanford Stadium is complete. That's the end of 3, 16-13. We'll return to Sanford Stadium after these messages and a word from your local station. David Green, but the day hasn't evolved the way they might have hoped. David Green out with a cracked bone in his left thumb. David Pollock, his team has seen a lot more action on the field in this second half than they might have liked. We begin the fourth quarter with Georgia clinging to a 16-13 edge. 21 rushes for 21 yards in the ball game. Georgia Tech's defense has controlled this game from the first quarter on. Here's Shockley rolling out, firing it. It's caught by Reggie Brown. He gets it out to the 25-yard line, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 5. And there is
well, now
they're going to say incomplete, right?
That he didn't have control. And another 3rd down and long situation now for the Georgia Bulldogs. It looked like a pretty clean, easy throw and catch. They rolled Shockley out. It was a good throw. Oh, I think
that's a catch.
I think it's a catch too. He did bobble it, but I thought he caught it before he bobbled it. Nonetheless, the officials rule incomplete, and it's 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 5.
And as you have pointed out throughout the day, Georgia Tech has excelled in forcing them into 3rd and long. Screen pass, no go.
That's twice they've tried to throw a screen, and twice the screen has been well covered and they're able to pressure the quarterback. You know, you expect pressure when you throw a screen. You let the line, let those guys come in. The pressure's going to come from the outside. DeJuan Landry is the guy who's going to get the sack, but the only reason he gets the sack is because the screen was not open and Shockley couldn't throw the football. DeJuan Landry, his younger brother, LaRon, is the starting safety for LSU. 2 pretty good safeties in college football.
Here's the punch of Ely Kelso. And again, great field position. And Clark says, I'll pick it up on 1 hop. And he's going to be down at the 45-yard line. Here is a staggering number, I think. In this half, total yardage for Georgia, -30. Now, Georgia Tech has the ball again at the 44-yard line.
Welcome back to Athens, Georgia, up 16-13. David Green, it seems like he's had enough watching from the sidelines. He threw off his thumb brace. He picked up his helmet. And he's now throwing a football on the sidelines. He wants back in. Here's the thumb brace right now. We found it on the floor. He wants into the game. He's had enough watching this game get too close for him. Back to you, Vern.
5th-year senior David Green, Todd.
Well, the one thing, if he does come back in, they'll probably have to be in the shotgun almost exclusively. I think it'd be very difficult for him to take snaps under the center with a broken left thumb.
In the meantime, he's got to rely on his defensive teammates. Here's Bilbo, who's back in as a quarterback, and the pass is complete to Levon Thomas.
Well, again, these 2 safeties for Georgia, Greg Blue and Thomas Davis, are great hitters. They're great run defenders, and they love to make contact in the middle of the field. And when they hit you, you stop. You don't continue to go forward. You don't fall forward for positive yards when those two guys hit you.
There's pressure from the right side. The pass is out and incomplete. And so it will be 2nd down and 10. Georgia Tech. Just an amazing stat that Georgia Tech has, for the 5th consecutive time, started with the ball inside Georgia end of the field.
Well, and it really has started with their defense. From the time they came out of the locker room to start the 3rd quarter, they got a 3 and out, and they've shut down Georgia's run completely. Only 6 yards rushing in the game now for Georgia. And the two teams that beat Georgia, Tennessee held them to 56, Auburn held them to 85.
Hand off to Daniels. He gets to the 31-yard line. And that will bring up 3rd down.
I think the Georgia defense has responded here the last couple possessions. Even though they've had their backs to the wall field position-wise, they have toughened up a little bit against this Georgia Tech offense.
3rd and 8. Brian Van Gorder signals in the defense he wants. Look at the 4th and the 3rd quarters. Here's Bilbo. Comes the pressure. There's Pollock.
He dove over P.J. Daniels, who tried to block him, and landed on top of Demarius Bilbo. I mean, there are so few players in college football in any position that play the game the way this guy plays. Jumps around the back and lands on the quarterback. Now, why you have a tailback try to block David Pollock instead of an offensive lineman, I don't understand at all. That makes no sense to me.
Out of field goal range, 4th and 15. Pollock has blocked 2 punts this year in addition to everything else. This one, end over end, it will bounce at the 22, go sideways, and come to a stop near the 11-yard line. And will we see David Green come back on the field with a cracked bone in his left thumb? In the meantime, say hello to a 3-time All-American. I don't think there's any doubt. Back at Sanford Stadium, and as we were going to break this dramatic moment, Mark Richt, David Green, and DJ Shockley.
Yeah, Mark Richt was telling David Green, no, I'm not going to put you back in. I know you've been warming up. I'm going to stay with Shock. And he's probably thinking of a couple things there. I mean, number one, he's thinking about David Green and his well-being and his future. He's also thinking about a bowl game about a month from now. And he's also thinking about this guy, DJ Shockley, and his future with him next year. What message would it send to DJ to take him out of the game right now?
Nance is right. He's now missed his last 7 passes.
But he does not look good right now. He does not look comfortable running the offense.
Time now for this week's Scholar Athlete, presented by Red Lobster. He is on the sideline right now with a broken bone, a cracked bone in his left thumb. David Green, senior, with a 3.2 grade point average, on course to get his degree in risk management and insurance, and he is the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame Scholar Athlete. We will see him in New York at the Hall of Fame banquet. Here's Shockley coming left. Nobody there to help downfield. He's out of bounds with a loss again. Jarris Wilkinson, K. Michael Hall. Now, in the second half, Shockley -5, -18, -2, and -15.
And what Georgia Tech has just realized is, hey, we don't respect the Georgia running game at all anymore. And so we're going to come after the quarterback. We're not just going to play foolish man-to-man all the time on their wide receivers, but we are going to pressure DJ Shockley and make him make tough throws to beat us.
Missed his last 7 throws. This is another of those ubiquitous 3rd and longs. This is the 6th time, Todd. It's been 3rd and 10 or more. Here comes the blitz. Shockley across the middle, and he makes a huge throw to his tight end, Leonard Pope.
I'm not sure DJ Shockley has made a bigger throw in his career. I mean, this one right here, the pressure's coming this way, but Pope is right here on the left side of his screen, and he finds him, and he gets him the football for a much-needed first down. If for no other reason, he's got to make some plays to try to flip field position. Georgia Tech has not snapped the ball in their own territory the entire second half.
Needed 14, got 17. It's a fresh series of downs. Here's Shockley, left side. Reggie Brown down low, made the grab at the 29. Well, the two losses this year have come at home on this field to Tennessee and at Auburn. And in those two, they averaged 70.5 yards. Look at that, 2 yards.
And again, it's a little deceiving because of sack yardage, because they've been able to pressure and sack the quarterback when they've tried to throw a couple screen passes. But still a valiant effort by John Tenuta's defense here, stopping the Georgia running game.
Second down and 6. This is Thomas Brown going right. Weaves across the 35. That's another Georgia first down. And they can at least have sight of the 50-yard line for the first time.
They've got to try to flip the field. And remember this, Georgia is still winning the game. Georgia has never trailed in this football game. And yet the feel is that Georgia Tech is winning because they've dominated since halftime. But Georgia still leads on the scoreboard. And all that they need to do, I mean, obviously you'd love to get points here, but the best thing you can do is to flip the field position and give your defense a better opportunity when they come on the field again.
High formation on 1st and 10. Thomas Brown bangs over left tackle and gets to the 40-yard line. It'll be second and about 6. Here's K. Michael Hall with the tackle. Shockley now 5 of 15 for 112 yards. That's a career high. Almost half of that, well, exactly half of it, came on one play, a big one that preceded his touchdown toss to Reggie Brown. He hit one for 53 yards to Sean Bailey in the second quarter. Here's the change. James Butler with the blitz. They run it. Thomas Brown.
Play by Butler. This was a great play by James Butler because he blitzed and they ran away from the blitz. And it looked like they might have had a good play because the blitz was coming from the other side and Butler chased it down. I mean, he just didn't give up on the play. We talk about David Pollock not giving up on a play. James Butler, a great hustle play on that running stop. Watch James Butler, 22, is going to come to blitz here. The run goes this way, but he chases it down. Watch him not give up on the play, chase down Thomas Brown and hang on for dear life and get a little help from Chris Reese. That's an excellent play by the senior safety.
3rd and 5, 9 minutes to go. And Georgia by 3, they have to use a timeout. That is their first in this half. 16-13. Bulldogs over the Yellow Jackets. 9:02 to go in the ball game. Georgia led by as many as 16. They were up 16-0 at the half. Uga was quite happy then and particularly thrilled when the rain stopped, which it did midway through the 3rd quarter. Chased about half the fans out of here, but they've missed a dandy as Georgia Tech has fought back to within 3. Now 3rd and 5. Georgia with the ball and a 3-point lead. Shockley back. Fires it at the last minute.
He waited too long. He kind of double clutched on that one. And the ball squirted out underneath the receiver. I think it was McClendon, the intended receiver. Eric Henderson applying a little pressure from his end position. But you see, he started to throw it, and then he reloaded it, and then Henderson was able to get there and harass him at the end of the throw.
And he scooped it off the grass. Mark Logan is back to return the punt now. Gordon Ely-Kelso.
But again, the field position change could be huge if he gets it off.
That was a high snap. Ely-Kelso, and he was under some pressure, and he gets only as far as the 34-yard line.
And that is critical because, I mean, if he gets a good snap, Ely-Kelso drives a good punt. Georgia Tech's taking the ball over around the 20. Bad snap, bad kick. Georgia Tech with decent field position.
Here's the Kelso kick. You see he had to jump up to control the snap. The pressure was coming, but it was only a 22-yard punt. That was still a great play in David Pollock's career. They might need for him to make something of that nature here. Georgia hangs on to a 3-point lead. Reggie Ball back at quarterback, fires it left side. It is caught by LeVon Thomas. He's got a first down out near the 48.
And really, in this second half, I really credit Chan Gailey, Patrick Nix, because they've done a good job of saying, hey, look, our best players on offense, especially with P.J. Daniels not being 100%, are our wide receivers. We got to get the ball in their hands. So whether it's been Reggie Ball or Demarius Bilbo, they've done a nice job of just throwing and getting those guys the football and letting them make a play. Levon Thomas, Calvin Johnson, Nate Curry, all involved here in the second half for Georgia Tech.
Here comes the pressure. Ball goes left side again. Tim Jennings is there defensively. All right, thank you, Tim. And again, congratulations to Mike Price and the Miners. Kind of an extraordinary turnaround for that team, despite the loss today. Here's ball back, deep right side for Calvin Johnson. Minner's there. Minner. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
See, Calvin Johnson has gotten into the head of DeMario Minter. DeMario Minter is not confident at corner right now. He doesn't have confidence that he can cover this guy. And so what's happening is every time he feels like he's beat, he's instinctively grabbing or pulling on Calvin Johnson. See, he's in okay position, but he just instinctively reaches out and grabs him, and that draws the penalty. Now, we should say also, Brian Van Gorder told us he didn't even think Minter was going to be able to play today because he injured his ankle during the off week, and he did not expect him to play. So he is probably not 100%, and right now he's not playing that position with very much confidence against these wide receivers of Georgia Tech.
In this half for DeMario Minter, that's 2 pass interference calls and a defensive holding call.
Problem for Brian Van Gorder is they really have nowhere else to go because the other 2 corners, Paul Oliver and Thomas Flowers, are both freshmen and have not played a whole lot.
Double tight end set on first down after the interference penalty. They'll keep it on the ground. Daniels caught and dropped.
Can't go sideways against this defense.
David Pollock with the tackle.
I thought it was interesting. One of the things David Pollock told us that as he's gotten older, he's become a more disciplined, gap-conscious defender. You know, when he was first year playing, he just kind of went wherever he wanted to and was all over the place. But he's much more fundamentally sound, staying in his gap, but still able to make a lot of big plays.
Now, we were reminiscing with him yesterday about that South Carolina game, his sophomore season. That was the second game of the year. He said, yeah, it was kind of memorable. He had the interception. He also had a sack, and he had 14 tackles. What became a pretty average game for him. Time call.
That last sack, though, he was one-on-one against P.J. Daniels, and that's a major mismatch in the favor of David Pollock.
That's his dad, Norm, standing, and his mom, Kelly, who is trying to keep warm, sitting down. They look on as their second son performs on the field. His brother and sister are here as well. On second down, here's ball rolling to his right. Fires it. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line. That will be short of the first down. Brings up a third down. Well, what a career for number 47. 33 sacks, most in Georgia history. 2-time first-team All-American. 2003 Hendricks Award winner. Defensive end of the year, and he's a finalist for a handful of other postseason awards this year. He will leave this school. He's 6 classes short of his degree, but he plans to go into training for his future career in the pros at the end of this season. Here's ball, deep left side. He's got a man open. It's caught at the no!
At the very end of the play, I think that was Trey Battle, not Thomas Davis or Greg Blue, the 2 safeties that are known for their big hits. It was Trey Battle who came over and got a big hit at the end of the play. Otherwise, this would be a first down inside the 10-yard line. Good throw. Calvin Johnson has it, and Trey Battle blows up the play. He hit Paul Oliver maybe harder than he hit Calvin Johnson, but he knocked the ball loose nonetheless. What a play by Trey Battle.
One-time walk-on high school quarterback. It is 4th and 6. Curry and Thomas wide left. Johnson is split right. The defensive backs are up on the line. Ball left side, incomplete. No flags.
No flag this time.
No flags.
Demario Minter looked around right away to see if there was any laundry on the field. But that time there wasn't. Another big fourth down stop. Blue on the rush. Demario Minter on the coverage.
And David Green has come back on the field. The fifth-year senior will play the final 7 minutes, trying to lead his team to victory in his final home game with a cracked bone in his left thumb.
The only reason I'm a little surprised by this is because they're not behind. If they were behind at this point, 16-13, then and he could go, then I'd say, yeah, okay. But they're still ahead. They've never trailed in the game.
He fired that one. It's caught for Reggie Brown.
Okay. Obviously, he can throw because he warmed up. The problem is if he gets hit again, does he make the injury worse? We don't know that. Comes out of there okay. But every time he gets it bumped or banged in any sense, it's going to hurt. And again, he's got to be in the shotgun. He won't be able to take a snap under the center with that broken left thumb.
Second down and 2. They'll hand this one off. It's Brown coming left. He's got the first down. He's tackled at the 49-yard line. Adam Oliver. Well, let's take another look at that 4th down and 6 for Georgia Tech.
Fourth down has not been very kind for Georgia Tech today. They've tried it a couple times and failed. Demario Minter in good position, got his right hand in, and Brian Van Gorder very pleased.
File this one away as well with 6:18 to go in the game. Georgia Tech has only one timeout remaining. They've used a couple. First down and 10. Here comes the blitz. They hand it off. Thomas Brown, stiff arm, Brown to the 40.
You know, and probably should have said this earlier when it happened, but I just don't know why they went for that 4th down at that point in the field. If you don't want to try a field goal, at least maybe punt the ball and try to get the field position edge back. Because what's happened now, you give Georgia the ball in good field position, and Georgia Tech's defense, for the first time this half, doesn't look like they have the same energy. And just maybe that failed attempt on 4th down, they just, you know, don't look the same here in this possession so far.
Think about the big play from Trey Battle on that 3rd down play as well. The deep pass to Calvin Johnson.
Absolutely. That was the big play because that was a completion.
Well, Georgia buys a couple of minutes now with that first down. 5:46 to go. And the clock starts when it is marked ready for play. David Green injured his left thumb. Mark Richt told Tracy Wolfson a cracked bone in his thumb when he hit the helmet of K. Michael Hall in the second quarter.
And see, the other thing is what you don't think about is even if you hand the ball off with your left hand, you can hurt it. I mean, anything that you do that it gets banged or knocked around is going to cause pain.
First and 10 from the 40. They'll hand it off again to Thomas Brown, and he gets nothing on this one.
See, the other thing that David Green is doing right now, and I'm not saying that DJ Shockley wouldn't do this, but again, David Green this is his 51st start. So he's a savvy veteran quarterback. Watch him work the clock now. There's 5 minutes left in the game, and he is going to let the clock go down as far as it possibly can before he snaps the ball, because he knows right now we don't need to score again necessarily. Let's work as much time as we can and hold on to this football. So watch David Green not only run the offense, but manage the clock as well.
Play clock under 10. Second and 9. And the snap comes at 3. Here's Green behind Brown. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Except when you throw incomplete, the clock stops.
Yes.
Which is, you don't want to do.
Third and 9. 4:33 to go. Very casual senior comes over, Talks with Mark Richt, heads back to the huddle.
Again, it's that poise and composure. I don't know that I've seen anybody over the last several years play that way in pressure situations as calmly as David Green.
The snap comes with 1 second left. Here's Green, got Reggie Brown. First down at the 27-yard line. This is the stuff of which legends are made.
You know what? I noticed this offensive line for Georgia sucking it up a little bit too, knowing that their quarterback is hurt, feeling like they've got to protect him a little better. A nice pocket that time for David Green to complete the pass to Reggie Brown.
1st and 10, they buy another couple of minutes. Georgia Tech can only stop it once.
I think they want to run the football here, but they've got to do it out of the shotgun because of David Green's thumb. He can't take a snap under the center with this injury.
Play clock was at 3 when the snap was made. Thomas Brown to the 24-yard line. Now let's check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. In the first half, 4 of 9. The touchdown pass came after he suffered the cracked bone in his thumb. It was to Fred Gibson. In the second half, he's 2 of 3 for 20 yards. Get complete game stats at cbssportsline.com. 2nd and 7. Sweep left, Brown driven down. It'll be 3rd down. Tackle made by Jarris Wilkinson, number 49. See Georgia Tech with a 1 timeout remaining. Georgia has 2. Third and 5. David Pollock watching his roommate, David Green. Brown goes right, Sean Bailey comes left. Play clock at 4. They'll keep it on the ground, and they will lose yardage. Tech will get the ball back.
I don't think that Mark Richt will try a field goal.
I don't either.
After that play. He may have Ely Kelso try to pooch punt it down there inside the 10.
Well, and Andy Bailey has missed an extra point today. He's also missed 6 field goals this year.
He's bringing them out.
Yep.
Bringing Bailey out.
Timeout, Georgia Tech. They use their last timeout of the game. Andy Bailey, will he get his chance? We'll find out when we come back. We're back, and let's take a look at the play of the game presented by Wrangler 5-Star Premium Denim. It is a 3rd down play, and here is the voice of Larry Munson.
Done with 3 wideouts on 3rd and 6. Snapped the ball, and he's going to throw a long pass down the left side. The receiver's there. It is complete. They knocked it out of his hands. He tackled him so hard.
Well, that is a tired Larry Munson. And that, after the 4th down play was knocked incomplete, got us to this point, and Andy Bailey will not try the field goal. It's Brandon Coutu. This is his first career field goal attempt, and it comes from 44 yards out. How about the roll of the dice by Mark Richt?
Well, he has the stronger leg, but first field goal attempt, there's a little pressure on this one.
Lee Jackson will hold. The snap is high. The hold is down. It is good. And so is the kick. Wow.
I didn't think Lee Jackson was going to be able to handle that snap. He bobbled it, able to get it down at the last second.
My, oh my. Brandon Coutu.
How do you do? I mean, most times, if a guy comes in for his first field goal attempt and he sees that snap bobbled, he'd probably throw a fit. Not Brandon. 3 more on the board for Georgia.
Let me show you. 1913, Brandon Coutu having knocked it home from 44 yards out. will kick off. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it was. You know, it takes something for a kicker to impress me today. That was impressive by Brandon Cotu.
Now the kickoff. 6-point game. Georgia Tech cannot stop the clock with a timeout.
He may kick this one to Atlanta.
Well, Lawrenceville. Up the left side, Levon Thomas, watch out. And they'll start from the 40.
Good field position, and remember, even though Georgia Tech has no timeouts, it is still a one-possession football game. 19-13.
Well, one of the magical moments for Georgia this year, and perhaps in recent years, David Green comes on with that broken bone in his left thumb. That was the 3rd and 9 that kept the drive alive, ultimately put them into position for this Brandon Cotu field goal that increased the lead to 6. First down and 10, out of the shotgun. Ball in trouble, gets by Thomas Davis, but he is caught back at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10. And the clock will continue to run.
Good pressure that time by the front 4 of Georgia. They didn't blitz. They had a lot of guys dropped in coverage, but they were able to get enough pressure with 4 to force ball out of the pocket.
On 2nd down. Deep pass. He's got Levon Thomas. First down at the 20-yard line. 39-yard pass.
This time Georgia chose to only rush 3, and they played cover 2, which means the safety split. Here's Levon Thomas, gets right in the middle, and they get it for a big play. They've had this open a couple times in the game. Reggie Ball able to make a huge connection on that one.
That's a gain of 39. The clock will start when the ball is ready for play. It is now. Here's Ball back. Lobs it short. Caught by P.J. Daniels. Watched network. Here comes the rush. They got him.
Quentin Moses, the guy who had a costly penalty earlier in the game, a personal foul, this time gets in there free, and Reggie Ball doesn't get rid of the football, and the clock continues to run.
3rd and 21.
Oh, goodness.
My goodness. They stop the clock to set up 4th and 21. That is surprising.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, I know you want to make sure you get the right play called, but you got to be able to call a play at the line of scrimmage on 3rd down and try to get some of the yardage back so that it's not 4th and 21. Maybe it's 4th and 10.
Well, I saw Patrick Nix look at Chan Gailey as they were breaking the huddle, and he indicated, let's down it. So they did.
Well, and the play clock's at 3. They may not even get this play off. It may be 4th and 26.
4th and 21. David Pollock chasing Reggie Ball. The game on the line. It's going to be Georgia football.
How do you throw it away on 4th down?
I guess you got David Pollock messing with your mind.
Make you do some crazy things. I just think Reggie Ball he lost his composure there in the last part of the drive. He made the big pass play to Levon Thomas, and then he got sacked, and then 2 plays in a row. I'm not sure he made a good decision. You can't throw it away. I mean, it's 4th down. You've got to try to throw it somewhere near a receiver.
Here's Chan Gailey. We asked him yesterday if he could account for the inconsistency of Reggie Ball, and he said, not a clue.
There is no explanation for that unless he didn't know it was 4th down. I mean, otherwise, there's no explanation for throwing it away.
He's arguing with one of the officials. I think that may be the case.
Unbelievable.
Inexplicable. Well, it comes to a more than satisfactory end, however, for David Pollock and David Green. It was David Pollock who had the pressure on Reggie Ball, who perhaps did not realize it was 4th down.
I'm sure he did. And David Pollock forced him out, and he just threw it away. He thought he was throwing it away to save it for one more play, but it was 4th and 21, not 3rd and 21.
Reminds me of Chris Webber in a certain NCAA basketball game.